All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to call the regular meeting of the Del Mar College Board of Regents to order on Tuesday, May 13th. It is 1 p.m. We'll establish a quorum by calling roll or something like that. Dr. Babley. Regent Loeb.
Here.
Regent Garza. Here. Dr. Adami.
Here.
Dr. Turner.
Here.
Regent Kelly.
Here.
Regent Krull.
Here.
I'm Carol Scott. We have a quorum and can conduct business. Would you please join me in a moment of silence? Thank you. Dr. Turner, would you lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And please join us as we read our Del Mar College vision statement. Del Mar College empowers our communities to achieve their dreams. Del Mar College is streaming our live audio and video from their official Board of Regents meeting on the college's website in real time, with exception of portions of the meeting considered as closed session by statute. We now have the opportunity for general public comment. If anyone is here to comment on an item not on the agenda, seeing none, we will move on to our recognitions. And we are going to start today with a recognition by the office of Senator Adam Hinojosa, and Dr. Natalie Villarreal is going to introduce that for us.
Good afternoon, Chair Scott, Dr. Escamilla, Regents. I have the honor of recognizing an important individual here with us today. In January, Senator Adam Hinojosa was sworn in as the chair for District 27 for the Texas State Senate. And we are proud to have his district director here today, MK Wally. You want to come on up, MK? Just a quick tidbit on Senator Adam Hinojosa. He is a graduate of the Regional Police Academy of Del Mar in 1999. He currently represents the districts of B County, Cameron, Hidalgo, Kennedy, Clayburgh, parts of Nueces, and San Patricio County. He is serving on several committees, including the Administration Committee, Border Security, the K through 16 Education Committee in the Senate, State Affairs, Water, Agriculture, and Rural Affairs. That's a little bit about Senator Adam Hinojosa, and here's MK Wally.
Good afternoon. It is my distinct honor to present this Senate resolution. The Senate of the State of Texas. Senate Resolution number 21 to Del Mar College.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I had the honor of reading the resolution to you today. The Senate of the State of Texas, Senate Resolution number 21, whereas the Senate of the State of Texas is pleased to recognize Del Mar College for its many contributions to the community of the Coastal Bend region, and to designate February 3rd, 2025 as Del Mar College Day at the state capitol. And whereas Del Mar College provides high-quality instruction in a wide range of academic and technical disciplines for more than 13,600 students pursuing degrees and licensure for its more than 7,100 continuing education students. Whereas the college's business, occupational, and technical students earn higher than average incomes for their professions in their first year after graduation. And on average, 90% of Del Mar College graduates seeking licensure for their professional credentials pass their state or national certification exams. Whereas this outstanding institution offers a first-class education at a reasonable cost to the people of the Coastal Bend region. The college is truly deserving of special recognition for its positive effect on the growth and prosperity of the region. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Senate of the State of Texas, 89th Legislature, hereby recognizes February 3rd, 2025 as Del Mar College Day at the state capitol, and commends the administration, our faculty, our staff, and Board of Regents of Del Mar College on their commitment to excellence in education, and extend to them best wishes for continued success And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be prepared for the college and is an expression of esteem for the Texas Senate, signed by President of the Senate, Dan Patrick, Secretary of State, and of course, Senator Adam Hinojosa. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. Thank you, Ms. Rawling, for bringing this to us, and please extend our sincere gratitude to Senator Hinojosa. Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Dr. John DeHalcom to introduce us to some Viking students.
Thank you for taking time out of your day, Madam Chair, board members, Regents, Dr. Escamilla. First, I would like to recognize the Del Mar College Vocal Vikings, if they could come forward, please, with their mentor, Sarah Contreras. Throughout the academic year, students that are members of the Del Mar College Vocal Vikings travel to competitions. This group of students earned several medals in the 24-25 state championships that included the team's 2 silver sweepstakes as well as individual bronze and gold medals for some of the individual team members under the directions of Professor of Speech Sarah Contreras. Professor Contreras has not only mentored the students, but she travels with them and gives up her time on weekends to do this. She teaches all week and travels. It seems like every time when I had an office next to her, she was always getting the students ready to go on Friday afternoon and spent the weekend, right? Yeah. Sarah has taught speech at Del Mar College for, I think, almost 30 years. I think it's 29, going on 30. So she knows what she's doing. The tournaments that they went to included Battle of the Alamo, Fall Texas Intercollegiate Forensics Association, Spring Texas Intercollegiate Forensics Association, Speech on the Beach, Texas Shuffle, Phi Rho Pi Regional, Phi Rho Pi National. And I want to introduce the students that were able to come today. Baya Mendez, could you raise your hand? Okay. Chloe Castillo, Elida Vasquez, Natalie Palacios, and Lauren Cavada could not be here today, but I know she wishes she could. Professor Sarah Contreras' coaching style and mentorship of her students are commendable, as evident from the awards that these students earn each year. And how many years have you been doing this, Sarah?
Here at Del Mar, 29.
You've been doing Vocal Vikings 29 years. Yeah, I thought so.
I was hired to start the team.
Yeah. Please congratulate the Vocal Vikings and their mentor, Professor Contreras. And
Good afternoon. I would like to sincerely thank Del Mar College, the Board of Regents, and the administration for their continued support of this activity. This activity is an academic activity. The students not only learn critical thinking skills through debate, they also learn literature, they perform literature, they make connections with students and faculty across the United States. Many of my Vocal Vikings, my former Vocal Vikings, have gone on to be professors of speech, to coach speech and debate, to become lawyers, to become politicians, and I couldn't be more proud. I just heard from one this past Friday that wrote me and said, Miss Sarah, I am graduating with my master's from Cornell, and I want to send an announcement to the teachers and professors who made a difference in my life. So I get this all the time. It's a special group. We travel together. We love each other. We fight with each other. We deal with each other. They learn teamwork. They learn leadership. And this particular group is very special. I couldn't be more proud of them. It is through Del Mar's financial support and emotional support that we're able to continue doing what we do. And I hope that even when I'm gone, Del Mar will continue to have a Vocal Viking team that represents our college across the state and the nation. They compete not just against community colleges. They compete against the University of Texas at Austin, Rice University, the Texas A&M system, multiple campuses, plus many Texas State University, I almost forgot my alma mater, and a bunch of colleges and schools, both in Texas. And we just returned from nationals. This is the last thing I'll say. We were in Norfolk, Virginia, and I was so thrilled. It is such a huge tournament that instead of just having a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, instead of just having 6 people in finals, it's such a huge field that they advance in percentages. And then at the end, you either are a bronze, a silver, or a gold, and they call all the people who had qualified for bronze up there, and then one by one, they get picked off. We had, from our girls, we had 3 advanced to those rounds. 2 of them made bronze in their field, and this one right here just kept standing up there, and they kept picking them off, and she was still standing. And after a while, when there's just a few left on stage, they go, and the rest are gold, and the crowd goes wild. And so she brought home she's showing it off. She brought home that gold medal. Chloe competed in debate, which put us in 2 different areas. So we won a silver sweepstakes at nationals because of the ones who are in what we call individual events. And because Chloe also competed in debate, she's got the award where we brought home the silver sweeps for overall in the whole competition. So I couldn't be more proud of these young women, and they have made Del Mar proud.
Thank you. Thank you for spending a few minutes of your afternoon with us. It is really special when we get to recognize our outstanding faculty and students. Thank you very much. And Dr. Halcomb is going to introduce us to another outstanding student.
Yes, Sergio Trejo, could you come forward, please, with your 2 mentors? Sergio Trejo is a current high school senior at Harold T. Branch Academy, and he's going to graduate this month. He's going to earn an Associate of Applied Science, a Certificate 1, and Certificate 2 in welding. He also just received last Thursday a Hall of Fame award as well, so we're really thrilled about that. As a dual enrollment welding student at Del Mar College, Sergio has refined his welding techniques, abilities, proficiency, and other techniques, as well as safety standards. He demonstrated the quality of his work by earning first place award in the Texas State Welding Competition at the District 12 and Texas State Skills USA Conference. He earned an opportunity to participate in the Skills USA National Competition in June, so we do wish him well this June when he goes to Atlanta, Georgia. So we're really hoping, we're pulling for him. Del Mar College hosted over 1,200 secondary and post-secondary students at the 2025 Skills USA Texas State Leadership and Skills Conference on April 2nd through 5th. The competition was conducted at the Windward campus, Oso Creek campus, and Center for Economic Development. More than 300 faculty, staff, and students and industry partners contributed their time and efforts. Industrial technology instructor Ryan Gutierrez and assistant professor Jose Cortez are here today to represent the welding faculty who have been instrumental in sharing their instructional methods and mentorship that contributed to Sergio's success in showcasing the caliber of his welding skill set with great confidence. Please join me in congratulating Sergio and his mentors, Ryan Gutierrez, Jose Cortez, and Sonny Vela wanted to be here today, but he couldn't attend. So please join me in congratulating them.
I want to say thank you to Del Mar College for the recognition, and I want to say thank you to Del Mar College because Del Mar College has opened doors in my life that I could never imagine. It has given me opportunities that I'm really grateful for, and I'm an example that Del Mar College delivers dreams to the students. It makes a big impact in the community, and not only in the community, but outside the community, in the state. It makes a big impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio. Congratulations. And we wish you the best in the competition. Thanks to your mentors. We didn't get a chance to meet all of them.
Can you make a quick introduction, Dr. Johnson?
Well, sure. Jose, why don't you come up here? Ryan, come on up. They didn't want to speak a minute ago, but we're going to make them now.
Ran them off.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. We wanted to keep the meeting going, but I'm Ryan Gutierrez, one of the faculty members in this program coordinator, Jose Cortez, and I would like to just a brief thank you for always supporting our program, and of course, always making the decisions to set up Del Mar College to be able to continue providing dreams to our community. It means a lot for us. This is probably one of the greatest places I've ever worked, and it is because of how you guys set us up as a college to be able to do what we can.
All right, I want to thank everyone here too, Regents, our administration, our vice president, our president.
Tell us a little bit about your title, not just your name.
Okay.
What you do, because these men do so much, and your title's pretty complex too.
I'm the program coordinator for welding. Also serve on faculty council as a chair of faculty council. Keeps me pretty busy. Makes for long nights, especially with students like Sergio. Sergio is one of the few that we have that have that desire to stay there in the lab till 7 o'clock at night. So we're fortunate to have partners, CCISD partners, all the ISDs that we have that provide these students to us so we can kind of influence them, mentor them. That's one of the biggest things that we do is we try to mentor them, try to give them good examples and get them to start thinking about career decisions versus having a good time in high school. And Sergio and his group of students, they caught on to that right away, and they've been doing what they need to do to be competitive at these competitions that we go to, but also to be competitive when it's time to take that well test and get that first job. Okay.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, and thanks for that introduction. Sergio, go get him. And we have one more. We have an outstanding faculty member that Dr. Holcomb is going to introduce to us.
Yes, the Westside Business Associates Benevenidos Mikasa event provides an opportunity for the association to thank and to honor a true leader who has made and continues to make a significant impact in the community. Mr. Palacios was honored by the Westside Business Association as the 2025 Legacy Award recipient on April 24th, 2025 for his contributions to education and to the business industry. Fino, good, you're right here. I was just going to call you out. I saw Dr. Escamilla waving him up.
He's the boss.
I know, he is. Mr. Palacios is a professor of accounting that has been at Del Mar College since 1981. And he was a 2015 Eileen Creighton Award recipient, which is the highest honor that we do give our faculty here at Del Mar College. He has an accounting firm that he's had since 1981. And he has been the coordinator of the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, also called the VITA program, that was initiated by a partnership established by Del Mar College and the IRS in 2002 to provide free tax preparation to the community. Mr. Palacios, current and former accounting faculty colleagues and accounting students have worked for decades to enhance tax preparation and provide that service to our community. The group just completed their 24th year of providing the service to the community by processing over 1,100 tax returns valued at more than $1 million in refunds to community members. Please join me in congratulating Professor Fino Palacios for receiving the Legacy Award by the Westside Business Association.
Thank you so much. I was humbled by the award, and it said legacy. When it said legacy, I said, that's old. In Spanish, we call it the Viejito Award. Been around too long. Yes, I just finished my 50th tax season. I didn't realize I'd been around that long. I've been at Del Mar 44 years. Every year has been a blessing. And the VITAL program, which that was a way of getting students involved, helping community people that need tax returns but really can't afford it. We've been doing that since 2002. The first year we did 70 tax returns, and this year we did over 1,100. These students learn how to work as a team. They learn the tax laws. They learn customer service. So it's a win-win, and of course the college gets credit for all that. We partner with the Internal Revenue Service, so they also get recognition from the IRS. When I was a young boy, I used to walk by Del Mar College and wondered if I'd ever attend college here. Not only did I attend, I got the privilege of being a professor, and every day has been an honor for me to be part of Del Mar College. I thank Del Mar College. I thank the Regents and the administration for everything you do for the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fino. Well, I think legacy is the appropriate word, Fino, that you've done wonderful work with our students, and indeed you have left a lasting legacy. So congratulations. All right, we'll move on to our college president's report. Dr. Escamilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, congratulations to all those recognized this afternoon. So I'll begin with a litany of things I've covered over the past month, beginning with the Freedom to Dream presentation to the Nueces County Commissioners Court and our judge. I took to them the details of our program that we're going to elaborate more on April 9th of this month. So it was well received, and it was just a wonderful day to be able to present to them. On April 10th, I participated in the Texas Association of Community Colleges, as well as the Community College Association of Texas Trustees joint legislative meeting, albeit virtually. I also attended the American Association of Community Colleges annual conference in Nashville, Tennessee on April 14th through the 17th. I was proud to be mostly a fly on the wall with our team who presented there. We had Jeff Olson, Patricia Benavides Dominguez, and Ali Khalidous present and did a really, really nice job. And it was well attended, very, very efficient, and people were picking our brains about the student mapping process that we are underway with here at the college. So great job, team. I was proud to be with you all. On the 23rd of that month, a little bit later, I attended the Texas Association of Community Colleges quarterly board meeting. Again, we're staying in touch not only on a quarterly basis, but as well as a monthly basis, and some other things I'm going to talk about. But I just want y'all to know that we hit these benchmarks, and I do everything I can to participate in those meetings, again, albeit virtually. On the 25th, I want y'all to know that I was appointed to the Standing Advisory Committee for the coordinating board for an extension of 3 more years. I will be reported. This committee convenes at least once a quarter, and it reports to the chair of the committee is Dr. William Serrata, my dear friend and president and CEO of El Paso Community College. It's a group of us. It's a relatively small group of us. It's 8 or 10 of us that report to the Commissioner of Higher Education, and we talk about all kinds of pertinent things, depending on the year. Obviously, right now being in a legislative session and tying up those loose ends on HB 8, you can imagine the conversations that are taking place there, but I'll be serving another 3-year term on that one. 3 days later, I was called over the weekend. I got a call over a weekend from, again, Chair Serrata from the Standing Advisory Committee, and I was asked to be a part of a relatively short-term group, for a short period of time, for the House Bill 8 Outcomes Subcommittee. This is a group that is ticking and tying all these again, I call them loose ends, that were and are a result of House Bill 8. So that one's is going to be a short-lived one. We're supposed to finish that up before the legislative session. So I think we have 2 more meetings and so forth. So that one's been really, really interesting, and I've been very, it's a great venue to be very opinionated, and you can bet your president is very opinionated about certain things. I'm very protective of our college and those around, the other 49 here in the state of Texas. Okay, and then moving on to the next, let me see, later on that month, April 28th, I did a Freedom to Dream presentation to the Corpus Christi Independent School District Board trustees. I want to thank them, my counterpart, Roland Hernandez, and the board for allowing me to do that. And then on May 8th, I participated virtually on a TAC, again, Association of Community Colleges and Community College Association of Texas Trustees Joint Legislative Committee virtually last week. So that's my report. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Dr. Escamilla? I'll add to his report, since we don't have a Regents report, on April 14th, while he was in Nashville, I got to go to Austin and testify on House
And
Bill
thank you for doing that. Thank
3063,
you.
so that he wouldn't have to wait around all day and wouldn't miss his presentation. So I tried as best I could to pinch hit for you, Dr. Escamilla.
I heard you did exceedingly well. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, we'll move on to staff reports. And the first one, Dr. Shashil Palamani and Ms. Lenora Keys are going to make a presentation. I'm excited about this. I was first introduced to this work at the Bellwether conference that attended with Dr. Rivera and his team. And so I'm excited that the full board is going to get to hear this information. Dr. Keys, Ms. Keys.
Lenora, thank you very much, Regent Scott. Sushil Palamoni and I are thrilled today to be able to share this information with you. It's a very data-driven report, and I think you'll find it very interesting. As you know, the college recently received recognition at the Bellwether Institute in San Antonio, at which Dr. Linda Rivera and our student Isaiah Herrera received an award. At that time, Dr. John Friedman, who is a distinguished professor of economics and international and public affairs at Brown University, presented his data on upward mobility in the United States. Our Regent Scott and others were present to see Del Mar College highlighted as an exceptional example of moving families out of poverty. Dr. Friedman's research and supporting information from our own Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board are going to be presented here today, as well as the New York Times interactive data reports states that Del Mar is in the top 8%. I want to keep saying 8% of two-year colleges nationwide when it comes to boosting students' income prospects, especially those from low-income families. You will see in this data-driven presentation that upward mobility of students is considering households at the lowest levels of poverty, where parents earn less than $25,000 a year, and the next generation of students earning much more, and in some circumstances over $111,000 annually. The programs at Del Mar College over the past years and initiatives around House Bill 8 have set the stage for this accomplishment. And this is our overview of what we're going to cover this afternoon. As you see, the fading American dream is highlighted here. As we look at Dr. Friedman's work, he has shown where the percentage of children who will earn more than their parents from the one generation to the next is declining. Therefore, it is more challenging for students entering the workforce to earn more than their parents or achieve a higher standard of living. When we consider the true meaning of upward mobility of a family, it is from one generation to the next, being able to increase their annual income as compared to inflation. And these numbers that you're seeing here today are inflation adjusted. Across the country, different regions are more upwardly mobile than others, as you see in the comparison of the regions here from red to blue. This map indicates that households in which parents earn $27,000 annually and shows the trend of more to less upward mobility. Looking at our region along the Gulf Coast, where you see the green, light green, blue color, this indicates that the average household income for children of parents in that $25,000 annually range are earning approximately $40,000, so almost twice as much as their parents. As we look at this slide, Dr. Friedman was identifying the characteristics of what he considered as high mobility neighborhoods. And here at Del Mar College, we deal with all of the issues that you've seen within our student base. And in many of our programs and our student services are designed to especially address the family issues and the lower poverty rates as dealing with hunger and different issues that our families encounter. Dr. Friedman also addressed 3 policy approaches to increasing upward mobility, and the college is highlighted in his research on higher education and workforce training. Sushil Palamoni will now discuss the data from Dr. Friedman's tie to the college.
Good afternoon, Dr. Escamilla, Madam Chair, and Regents. So I'll be sharing some data from Dr. Friedman's study. There are some slides from his study, and also we have included some data points from the New York Times, as Lenora mentioned. In addition to that, we also have some data from the new coordinating board data portal that they have provided for all colleges in the state, where they can track student outcomes in terms of graduation and even employment. So the first slide that you're looking at shows mobility report cards. So in general, mobility report cards help assess community colleges and see how they are enabling upward mobility, especially for low-income students. So if you see the slide, the bar chart shows the breakdown of parental income categories from the bottom 20% to the top 20%. And if you see, we have about 11.6% of parents coming from the bottom 20%. And if you look at the line chart above, it shows that almost 16.4% of students from the bottom 20% move up to the top 20%. So that's a very strong number, and it shows that Del Mar College is a strong performer, helping students move up the economic ladder. So here we're looking at a scatter plot of access and success, and shows mobility rates for community colleges across the country. So if you see, Del Mar College is positioned quite favorably, meaning it provides access to low-income students, and also the upward mobility rate is pretty high compared to most of the other colleges. So ideally, you would want to be far right and up above. So that's where Del Mar College is. And you see very few colleges, small dots to the right, to the right of me, but to your left, that show that they are performing better than Del Mar College. And I'll show you in a minute as to where we rank across the state in the country, both 2-year and 4-year colleges. So this actually sums up that we have really strong practices of job, advising, strong advising, job-focused programs, and strong student support services that boost economic advancement of the students. So now we're zoomed in to more a detailed level at community colleges. We're looking at specifically from some community colleges from Texas. We're looking at Blaine, Alamo colleges, that's one of the very large colleges, and a few other colleges from other states. So if you look at just colleges from Texas, so Blaine has a low access rate and a moderate to high success rate. If you look at Alamo colleges, it has fairly moderate to high access, but it has low success rate compared to both Del Mar and Blaine. And if you look at Del Mar, it's comparatively higher access rate and also higher success rate in terms of moving up the students up the economic ladder. So clearly it shows Del Mar College is outperforming all those colleges, even the very large colleges in Texas. So now let's look at mobility index. So mobility index is a nationally recognized measure that was created by New York Times. So it basically combines access and success and creates an index for ranking these colleges. So if you look at the first column, Texas, we are ranked 34th among the 123 colleges in Texas. When they say colleges, they mean both 2-year and 4-year. So we are in the top 27% in Texas. If you look at the 2-year colleges, we are ranked 54th out of 690 2-year colleges. That puts us in the top 8% nationwide that Lenora was just mentioning about. And then if you look at all 2-year and 4-year colleges, we are ranked 217th out of 2,137 colleges, 2-year and 4-year. And that puts us in the top 10% of U.S. colleges across the nation. So that's a significant position for Del Mar College across the nation. So now this slide shows where we rank. We want to compare apples to apples, right? So we're looking at only large colleges based on the mobility index ranking in Texas. So Laredo ranks number 1, followed by Central Texas, and Del Mar College is ranked number 3 among all the large colleges in Texas in terms of mobility, providing economic mobility for students. So now let's look at the wage data for Del Mar College graduates from career tech programs. So this was the data that I was talking about that we were able to pull from the coordinating board that they have provided in collaboration with the Texas Workforce Commission. So now we can look at where our graduates are working, what industries they're working in, how much they're making. So you're looking at an aggregated data for 7 years for about 5 programs that are listed above. And across every program, our graduates are making much higher, comparatively much higher than the peer median wage of all large colleges. And if you see overall, our students make about, I believe it's more than 15 or 16% compared to the peer median graduates, median wage of peer graduates from peer colleges. So that basically shows that Del Mar College is not just educating students, but also preparing them for the high demand and high wage jobs.
You know, as we looked at what was going on with those salary ranges, I'd like to point out that our ancillary data, just talking to our students and talking to your industry leaders, we know that many of our student graduates within just a year or two are earning twice as much as some of those salaries. Particularly in your welding and in your process technology areas, they're over, you know, your welding, your process technology people are over a 6-digit number right away. So it's quite impressive. What we have here are examples of the key initiatives that Del Mar College has been able to access over the last few years. And as we combine this with House Bill 8, you will see that many things have come together to really position us to provide this upward mobility for our students. As you see, the Dual Enrollment FAST program has expanded access across the entire region. Combining this with the Workforce and Academic Pathway programs directly supports higher wages for families. Partnerships within the community, business, and industry, combined with initiatives for families such as Valdar's Market and health plans, have directly impacted the ability for families and students to stay engaged. Dr. Friedman's characteristics of high mobility neighborhoods and supports more stable family structures. Additional support through the Freedom to Dream tuition waiver program and our short-term credentials, putting students out to work sooner and to earn and to raise their family's economic mobility is greatly appreciated by all. And really, Del Mar College is positioned itself to present all of these initiatives as we move forward. And many of you have seen over the last year in-depth presentations on each of these. What we've been able to do is throughout this whole time work with our area ISDs, business, industry, and community to move our students forward and to reach that higher level. And all of this is, I think, to be commended by the entire college, our Board of Regents, and all the faculty and staff involved, and as we've made this data-driven report. And we're now open for any additional questions.
Questions? Mr. Loeb?
Comment. I just wanted to say I think this is great. I wanted to point out to everybody the data, the Friedman data is the cohort that is a year older than me in high school. And I mention that because at this point it's 10-year-old data. And so because of that, I mean, to give you a sense, collegiate credit didn't exist, branch didn't exist, dual credit was 50 to 100 students kind of snaking their way in over here to take classes. A lot of the industry partnership stuff had not happened. The welding program. So I think there's been a huge amount of progress that isn't even in that data. And so I'd be very interested in seeing more updated data because I think that this is a really important story to tell. I think, you can go on New York Times if you want. They have the data for every college in the country. They have the scorecard. And you'd be shocked to look at some of the schools that, they're good schools, but they're good schools because they don't provide access to people. And I think we do, and we are showing results, and I think that's fantastic, and I think that's a story we need to tell often.
I agree, and I think one reason why I was excited to have this shared is it talks about not just completion as if graduation is the end all for us, but the reason that community colleges and specifically colleges like Del Mar exist are for the upward mobility, to help our students and their families increase that trajectory and increase the opportunity for their families. When we think about the characteristics, this data-driven approach, and the social capital, we talk about it in terms of mentorship on that slide, but what we do with our students who are also parenting, with our students who are coming back. So there's a lot more that goes into that social capital investment in our students than just mentorship. So that was probably my only thing when I saw that. I was like, well, it's not just mentorship. It really is about supporting the student in all kinds of ways so that they can finish here and go on. So thanks for sharing this. And for those who want to dig in a little bit deeper, you can look for the New York Times information or the Friedman information.
You can call me. I've got it all. I promise you. I just like to add, just in closing, that we've been in touch with Dr. Friedman. Dr. Friedman is a professor of economics and chair of economics at Brown University in partnership with his colleagues from Harvard. There's that group that's put together that has the Opportunity Atlas. You can look it up. OpportunityAtlas.com is their site, and you can look at all the variations throughout the entire country, by neighborhood, by streets, by period of time. It's an incredible piece of software and so forth. But upward mobility is what one of my colleagues told me last week when I shared this with him, who's a retired president of many years. He said, "This is the most important work you will ever do at Del Mar College, Mark. There is not anything more important than this type of data." Many people are watching this. We did not know that they were using our data. We did not know that they were examining us. Chair Scott and Dr. Rivera and team, Mr. Creasy and a few others were at that presentation. You couldn't have paid for that opportunity for them to present us. And just finally, I just want the Regents to know that, again, I'm engaging Dr. Friedman as well as Dr. Rose Martinez to see what we can put together so that we can have a forward-looking, looking at the next decade of opportunities for such data. Lots of people's eyes are on this piece of work right here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other comments or questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to ask. Applause, that's right. Going to ask Dr. Patricia Benavides Dominguez and Mr. Garcia to give us an update on our Freedom to Dream tuition waiver program.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Board of Regents, Dr. Escamilla. This is an update on the Freedom to Dream waiver program. This report will include an update on outreach efforts that have occurred and the exciting insights that are emerging from the recruitment events. This slide provides details as to the Freedom to Dream. Oh, darn, wait a minute. I am a little ahead of myself. Sorry. The Freedom to Dream program has successfully launched. To recap the Freedom to Dream program, the next two slides briefly overviews the main highlights of the program. The first Freedom to Dream cohort will have up to 3 years to complete their program of study. And this is a first dollar in funds for students to enroll, and they must enroll by fall 2025 and complete and to take advantage of the full program that they have to offer for the 3 years. Students will be able to leverage those funds that they normally would have used for tuition and fees to leverage for other ancillary educational cost and or cost of living expenses. We believe this program will increase student completion rates by students attending full-time, thus time to completion is accelerated. Initially, this program is being funded by the foundation and the college leveraging performance-based revenue from House Bill 8. This slide provides details to the Freedom to Dream target audience will be. And there are 4 major student types that you see there on the first 4 bullets. This is the first Freedom to Dream. This is the first slide regarding the latest results from the Consumer Relationship Management tool known as the CRM, and that we are using this CRM to capture Freedom to Dream interest. As you can see by the slide, this gives the breakdown of the number of students who have submitted a request for information, known as the RFI. We use a lot of acronyms here, so RFI is in our vocabulary. And we have over 2,000 students, and as of this morning, it's more like 2,250. As you can see by the slide, this gives the breakdown of the number of students who have not only submitted an RFI, but a specific breakdown of the students of the first cohort that we have processed. So this data is of May 6th, so the data has been updated since, but from May 6th, we had processed 680 students. Now we're well over 1,000 that we've processed. And then below that is the number of students that have signed the Freedom to Dream agreement, the number of students pending. As of May 6th, we have 57 students that were enrolled, but as of today, we have 79 students that are enrolled in Freedom to Dream. Thanks to the implementation of the CRM tool, we are able to thoroughly track student leads and where they are in the onboarding process. The Freedom to Dream tool has been, the CRM has been an invaluable tool in launching of the Freedom to Dream. Yes.
So 212 have been denied based on what? What's
excessive hours. Excessive hours beyond students that were adults that were beyond 12 hours, not dual credit students matriculating, just adults that are beyond the 12 hours.
So if a high school student does receive a denial letter, should they
It's not a high school student, it's an adult.
Well, but a high school student could receive a denial if they're out of district.
I had someone reach out to me saying that they received a denial letter and they're a senior. I figure it's because they didn't fill out their paperwork correctly.
It could be a number of things that maybe high school graduates may have been denied. They may be out of district. If you could give me that information, we'd be able to research it.
That's fine.
With the Freedom to Dream initiative, we are excited to report that that staff have had an overwhelming positive experience with prospective students, parents, and colleagues from other organizations. This slide demonstrates our various outreach events to promote Freedom to Dream in the community. Everywhere we go, there is considerable excitement from the people that we are engaging with.
I would just like to say, let me just thank everybody. If you can go back to that slide represents crazy, crazy numbers of hours that people have been putting in non-stop since this board approved us to move forward with this initiative. So I want to personally thank everybody who's put in the associated efforts, all the associated efforts for this initiative. Those are not just Those are not just 5 or 6 or 10 bullets up there. I just got to thank everybody along the way, because yes, thank you.
And can I just add one thing? I just want to say thank you for all those who are calling every single student and recalling, following up with emails, and somehow getting a hold of the parents, because I know some of those students are not putting parent information on there, because I've been called twice, and it's like, how do they even have my phone number? So you are doing your homework, and you are reaching out to every single kid, and that is hours of beyond hours of calling. And you're happy when you're calling, too. You're all upbeat, and the kids are excited. So thank you so much for all doing that.
Well, they called me too. I practiced. I just punched my number in. They called me right away. Hey, Mark, you want to join? You want to sign up for Del Mar College? I said, I really do, but I don't have that much time. But it's all part of the process. And yes, the upbeat tone on the voice is just phenomenal. Well said.
Thank you for saying that, Regent Turner. My applaud to Gracie and her team, the CRA team. The next four slides is data that we pulled as of May 6th. This daily report is a collaboration from many people in this room. Most of us analyze this daily report and work collaboratively to refine and improve the results. What you're looking at is when students submit an Apply Texas Admissions app, they must declare a major. This slide reflects that the first batch of students processed and where they fall within their majors listed that you see there. As you can see, the top trending majors are nursing, industrial technology, liberal arts, which is under English, and philosophy department. Another data point we're tracking is the number of students who have declared on Apply Texas what they intend to pursue at Del Mar. As you can see by the breakdown, 60% of the students are interested in pursuing a transfer degree. That is an AA, an AS, or an AAT.
Patricia, can I jump in there real quick?
Sure.
This is just a wonderful statistic. And the team keeps hearing from me how and why that is so important, that 60% of these students are looking to transfer. For obvious reasons, it just balances out what's happened over the past, let's just say 5, 6, 7 years now. There's been, especially post-COVID, pre and post-COVID, really hampered that aspect of our curriculum, of our enrollment. That's been the area where the seats are most available. So if there was a place that you wanted a preponderance of students in, it's that area. You couldn't have written a better script, Patricia, because this worked out perfectly. So in effect, what's happening is, as those students are coming to us and deciding to prepare to transfer with us, both with and without dual credit, the seats that are available or already planes in the sky, if you will, if I could use that model that I've been sharing with the team. And those planes are already fueled and ready to fly and already in the air. In other words, those seats will be filled with classes that are mostly prepared at this point. Now, there's still regular registration, of which is doing quite well as well. It's going to present different challenges for us down the road, but that's just an important factor that I wanted you all to know about. That is no small matter. Thank you.
This tells us that many of the students here are going to be taking the 42-hour core and or earning their degree for university transfer. The remaining 40% intend to pursue a short-term program of study and will more than likely enter the workforce upon graduating. Hopefully we can convince some of those AAS students to stay and pursue a bachelor's degree with us. This slide depicts the top 10 trending high schools, which aligns with what we already know, that CCISD is our biggest school district that draws the most students. I find this slide particularly very interesting. This student profile emerging shows that most students are coming in with no hours or up to 12 hours A small percentage have accomplished 13-plus hours, and an even smaller percentage have accomplished 31 hours or more. And the two smaller percentages tells us that these students are dual credit students matriculating into Del Mar College. We already realize that many students are coming in with no hours directly from high school, which is a positive sign they are choosing college. And of the students that have college hours, some of those students probably had plans to go away to university and are instead choosing Del Mar. There are additional data points that provide richer information regarding the students in these categories, and we anticipate showing that to you at a later date. At this time, I'm going to hand over the presentation to Raul Garcia to provide a fiscal note on the program.
So thank you, Dr. Dominguez-Benavides. At the March board meeting, the college presented a sustainable financial plan for the Freedom to Dream pilot program. It was based on projected student profiles for the 2023-2024 academic year. Since then, Dr. Benavides-Dominguez has reported stronger than expected student interest in our program. With over 2,000 informational requests received, to date 680 students have been confirmed as eligible. So in light of this new data, the college has developed an updated financial plan based on the revised projections of 1,000 eligible students. A scenario assuming 1,500 students is also presented on the following slide. But in both scenarios, the program remains financially sustainable with a projected surplus by the end of the 3-year contract period. In this particular slide, we're looking at the total column, and we're projecting $3.6 million surplus at the end of the contract period. The updated student profile indicates a trend towards an accelerated credential completion with 1 to 2 years, compared to the original anticipated 2 to 3 years. This acceleration is attributed to the increase in the number of dual credit hour students that are matriculating at the Del Mar College institution. The pilot program will be funded in part by HBH state performance dollars generated by this student cohort. That's the presentation you see in the numbers, along with the supported Del Mar College Foundation. So based on the enrollment of 1,000 students, the combined funding is estimated at $8.6 million, as reported in the total column. Program costs over the same period are projected at $5 million, resulting in a net gain of $3.6 million. So from a cash flow perspective, this represents a 70% return over a 3-year period, or approximately 24% annually. You cannot see that kind of investment return today in any mutual fund or the Dow Jones. Sorry about that. So the financial model for the 1,500 student scenario yields comparable results with a projected 65% return over a 3-year period, or approximately 22% per year.
I have a question for you, Mr. Garcia. When we go to the budget conversation later on this year, how will you show that loss in the next fiscal, not loss, but the negative net surplus?
Yes, of course.
In our budgets for the next year specifically.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that when we go through the budget process, we identify that very clearly, because it won't show up in salary or equipment and those kinds of things. So how are we going to?
That is correct. So a couple of things I want to point out. It's going to be part of the net tuition revenue. Essentially, this is going to be revenue that we would typically normally generate if a student would have been enrolled and paid regular normal tuition fees. But we consider this as a waiver, so essentially it reduces that tuition and fee revenue. I just had a conversation with Jackie this morning. We were talking about this, and we said, well, we know for a fact today that, the enrollment is trending upward. So it is a good possibility I'm not saying yes or no yet, but the numbers will come in the near future. But we will trend at a minimum. Our baseline is going to be our tuition revenue that was generated last year. So this 1 million or 2 million is going to offset any new growth that we are experiencing today. So what that number is going to be, more to come until we get the final projected enrollment figures that should be coming in the next couple of weeks. So more to come at.
I'd like for us to have a conversation around if enrollment is growing in other areas, then there's resources, there's maintenance, there's other needs that are associated with potentially with those dollars. If we weren't doing a free tuition program, a pilot program, we would see those dollars expended in other ways. So I'd like for us to consider, do we borrow from ourselves with the concept that, are we borrowing from our fund balance to balance that portion of the budget only, knowing that we're going to start paying ourselves back next year and the fiscal year after. So I don't want us to shortchange other areas of need to make up for this difference.
Sure. One of the mitigating circumstances, yes, we're making note of exactly what you're saying because we're anticipating these questions. And that's why I brought up the 60% in the transfer area. That's going to mitigate against overhead, if you will. And so we've got those variables noted. We're anticipating those, and because they're developing. I mean, despite the big numbers of RFIs, of requests for information, we only have 79 actually enrolled so far. 79 students out of 2,200. So it's going to be a slower process, and we're being very meticulous at it. However, given these two scenarios, I asked Mr. Garcia to put up the 1,000 and 1,500, knowing that we're going to come back with those various scenarios. We're going to factor in how that 60%, because that's been pretty consistent over the sampling that we've been doing to help with that. So duly noted on that. The other thing, too, are you going to talk about the dashboard? I mean, I know you mentioned it. Are you going to elaborate further so I don't steal your thunder? Okay. Anyway, so stay tuned. We've got that noted.
Before we move on, do you have a question about finances?
Yeah, I was also concerned about additional staffing, instructors, and advising that are going to, we're going to have, how are we paying for that, or is that just all going to be part of it? Because obviously they're not going to wait a year to get paid.
So Dr. John is going to help us with this. We're working very closely with, the team, again, is working very closely with this project and every step of the way in anticipation, because it's not just a head count, it's a head count of full-time students. It's an FTE impact. And again, we're most delighted that the 60%, don't get me wrong, we love all aspects of the curriculum. This isn't a judgment thing, but that 60% again are on that transfer side where there is capacity already. That being said, there's going to be a need for some increases, and most likely further down the road, we're anticipating in the regular registration process. That being said, Dr. Halcomb.
Yes, we're evaluating our needs. If we have to add more sections of classes, I've asked people to relook at the ads that are going out there for the adjuncts and term. And in some of our industrial areas where they're a bit worried about getting some of the individuals, we want to do a industrial job fair as well to bring those people on board. So I think we can get this covered. Absolutely, we can.
Patricia, can you talk also a little bit about the anticipated summer impact that's outside of the Freedom to Dream program? Could you just share a little bit? There's more to this story, and that's right to your point, Regent Turner.
Well, currently, as of today, summer one, we are up 23% as to opposed to this time last year. Our head count is trending over 3,700. And then summer two, we are up 17% this time last year. And fall, we are up 27% more than we were this time last year.
And summer one, summer two is with returning students, not the new students coming in, right? Because you probably won't even see that until next year.
A lot of transient students as well, students coming here just for the summer and then going to the university. Mm-hmm. So, what's next? We anticipate that we will soon be able to share with you a dashboard that has been created. We will continue to promote Freedom to Dream outreach events, and soon we will have a Freedom to Dream student signing event, which is, as of today, I found out it's scheduled for Wednesday, May the 21st at 1:30 in the White Library. So additionally, what I would like to share with you that you don't see on the slides provided is that we have a Freedom to Dream committee that meets bi-weekly and has been meeting bi-weekly since mid-March. That committee has grown to include various stakeholders throughout the college. These Freedom to Dream awesome champions, faculty and staff, collaborate daily, far beyond the 2 times that we meet bi-weekly. This cross-collaboration has helped us to be stronger, troubleshoot daily on many levels, and more importantly, lots of creative ideas that have been implemented as a result of the Freedom to Dream meetings that we have been having. The quantitative metrics you see here do not show many of the qualitative strategies we have used to launch this program successfully. Simultaneously, we are already working on building 3 to 6 months down the line for interventions to address student retention needs. And that is all. Do you have any questions?
Other questions for Patricia or for Raul? Yes, Mr. Loeb, sorry.
No, that's good.
What portion of the 2250 have we processed on Freedom to Dream?
Right now, on the 2250, we have determined that 1,024 students are eligible to be in the program. Out of that, 654 students have signed the Freedom to Dream agreement, and from that, 396 are pending signature.
Okay, so I guess we found 200 that are not, so we have like 600 or 800 that have signed up but haven't been processed for
Right,
eligibility.
we're going through this meticulous process, because sometimes students, a student will submit, then the parent will submit for the student, and there's different names and different emails, so cross-referencing, all of that takes time.
We should have an award for whoever has the most parents and grandparents apply for them. I'd be very interested to know, is it 5, is it 10, aunts and uncles? No, I think that's great. So you're thinking somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 is where we're going to end up?
That's what we're shooting for.
Okay. And Raul's happy, which is good, and everybody else is tired. Jonda isn't too worried yet, though, so I feel like we need to do more.
She's a part-time poker player, so you just got to be careful with Dr.
I've been
Hopcom.
kind of watching her, and I'm like, she's not like, but no, I mean, I think that's, when the finance guy's happy and everybody else is tired, that's probably a very good sign. But no, I think this is going really well. I just want to second the marketing team. I think on the general increase in signups, I think a lot of that's that we've been out there selling and telling people what we have, and I think it's a time where a lot of people are really concerned about the cost of education, and I think we've got a good product, and I think we're telling the community we have a good product, and I think they're responding, and so this is fantastic. I mean, my shorthand math was if we continue with that and we get there, we're going to be up 50% on enrollment in fall, and that's a huge increase. But to second what Chair Scott said, I mean, our reserve is there to fund education, and so if we need to dip into our reserve to pay for the things to make sure completions happen until the state completion money pays us back for it, I think that's what that money's for. I can't think of a better use for it. So that's my comment on that. Thank you, guys. Thank you for all your hard work, all of you. It's wonderful.
Thank you, Mr. Loeb. Yes, Regent Garza?
Well, ditto what David said. I can't say it as well as he did. But first off, my comment's going to be complimentary. And I just walking around and running into folks, I get compliments about some of the stuff that we're doing over here at Del Mar. There's a certain fervor that I feel in the community that I hadn't seen before. And so I saw the numbers and the statistics related to the impact that what we're doing here at Del Mar has on, and how we're ranked nationally. And that's stuff that was done in the past. Here recently, looking back, and 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, we were trying to come out of COVID, and institutions and entities across the country were talking about how long the after effects of COVID might last and how long it might take us to get back to the numbers we had in basically 2019. And we haven't sat around and waited to see what the market was going to do and what we were going to be able to, and what we were going to react to next. I think that taking the initiatives by the opportunities created by HB 8, and which you guys set the groundwork for, and we already semi-positioned with because of all the continuing education programs we had, has allowed us to be able, and staff and Dr. Scamilla's creativity with this freedom to dream has put us in a position to do some things that I could have never foreseen us getting to achieve the kind of opportunities for our dual credit programs and the dual credit students. So again, I'm just real grateful and proud to all the efforts that you guys are doing. And again, I think, like David was saying, investing some of those dollars that we have in some of our or basically our reserve funds is a great place to, if we have to pull some of those funds to be able to operate the way we're used to operating, then I think that it is a great investment. So you guys keep doing what you're doing, because again, I mean, we are being complimented everywhere we go about what's happening here at Del Mar. And so guys, thank you very much for your hard work.
Thank you, Regent Garza. Any other comments or questions? Great. Look forward to future updates. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Back next month.
With the dashboard.
Same bat time, same bat channel, right?
The dashboard should be complete, or at least a beta version of it for us to show you. And so we would like to bring that back to you so we can have quick updates with that.
Thank you. Mr. Olson is going to come give us the start of a strategic marketing and communications plan update, and then bring on great members of his team.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair Scott, Dr. Escamilla, Regents. Last year we rolled out a marketing and communication plan. It was a new plan. It was only a 2-year plan. It was really designed to lay an important foundation for a more tactical plan to be laid on top of it. But much like the strategic enrollment management plan, which you're going to be hearing from Dr. Cheryl Sanders later today, the marketing and communication plan is specifically designed to support the college's overall strategic plan. Most of the marketing and communication plan is already well underway. We've restructured our marketing department to focus on our enrollment marketing and lead generation. We completed an RFP for a new customer relationship management tool, Element 451. You've been hearing a little bit about that already today. You're going to hear a whole lot more about that from Jason Houlihan in just a little bit. But first, I'd like to share some of our new increased focus on communication strategy. And to give you an update about what we've been doing, I'd like to introduce Del Mar College's new Executive Director of Communication, Dr. Jesse Krobosinski.
Doctor.
Not doctor yet. Good afternoon. Today you will hear from both the communication and marketing sides of the strategic marketing plan. When we talk about communications, we are talking about how we share the Del Mar College story across key audiences, from students to alumni to the community and the media. All of this to build awareness and drive pride and advocacy for Del Mar College. The communication objectives that we're covering today support the strategic plan, which is to collaborate across the college and connect beyond the college. This update will highlight a couple of objectives that we've successfully accomplished so far, and the objectives we will focus on in 2025 and 2026. These next two slides are a full list of objectives under goals 2 and 3 of the strategic marketing plan: elevate the experience and communicate with outcomes. These goals reflect the college's broader commitment to communicate the story of Del Mar College's impact and build community trust in the transformative opportunities at Del Mar College. This past year, we have executed successful media campaigns that reinforce Del Mar College's value across local and regional media outlets. And we also launched the Viking Vanguard Student Ambassador Program to help personalize the Del Mar College experience and deepen engagement. We're highlighting success in Objective 6 under Goal 3, media campaigns focused on Del Mar College's role in keeping talent local. One of the strongest examples of this was the campaign around the launch of our Bachelor of Applied Science in Organizational Management and Leadership, which was picked up, as you can see, by multiple media outlets. This positioned Del Mar College as a direct talent pipeline for our local industry while reinforcing our role in regional workforce development. The numbers you see here reflect a successful campaign and how aligned, story-driven, outcome-driven storytelling can support recruitment, strengthen our brand, and build community trust. We also launched the Viking Vanguard Student Ambassador Program, which has been one of the most impactful initiatives that we have accomplished this year. And I'm proud to have most of them here with me today so that you can see the students that are bringing our mission to life. And I will go over the impact that they have made so far. So these students have enhanced the prospective student experience and our current student experience. They promote equity in peer-to-peer representation, they support that student leadership, and they reflect our strategic focus of creating pride in what it means to be a Viking. These students receive a $500 scholarship per semester provided by the Del Mar College Foundation, which is funded by the President's Council. A perfect example of their impact was at the recent White Library grand opening, where they stood front and center, helped welcome guests into the library, and helped with the wayfinding component throughout the new renovated space. That brought that authentic student presence that made the event feel more personal and dynamic. We've grown the program from 5 ambassadors in the fall of 2024 to 11 in the spring of 2025, and we are so excited to continue expanding this program. Thank you all so much for being here. As we look ahead, we are focusing on these 3 strategic priorities that will continue our progress under the Strategic Marketing Plan Goal number 3, Communicate with Outcomes. One of the biggest priorities that we're diving into now is the Brand Health Survey. We have planned to complete this as soon as the Freedom to Dream cohort launches in this fall. The goal is to have strong data-informed insight in place as we roll out the program so that we know how we are currently perceived, where those gaps are, and how we can position the Freedom to Dream tuition waiver program as we expand it across the college. We have secured the services of MDR advertising to understand what opportunities exist for Del Mar College outside. And that is all based on what people know about Del Mar College, what they don't know, and what they think when they hear our name. So this survey will help us assess our market potential and understand the awareness of our programs and evaluate how we are perceived across the region. The survey will be segmented by student types so that we can compare how different students respond to those different segmented questions. And it'll also give us a clearer picture of how the community sees us so that we can lay that strategic foundation to make sure that our initiatives land the way that we want them to, with clarity, impact, and intention. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Jesse, I don't have a question, but I want to applaud you in the measurements that you're using to evaluate when you talk about communicating with outcomes. The prior slide on goal number 3, it's important to right there. It's important to understand audience reach and the value of that communication, but the real data point is the actual enrolled students. And so I applaud you for going to the actual driver of why we're doing these things and making sure that your measurements are indeed about the students and the enrolled students. So good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions for Jesse? Thank you.
Okay, next you will hear about the marketing from Mr. Jason Houlihan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Krobozinski. Over the last year, Del Mar College has made a really strategic shift away from complete brand awareness marketing to enrollment marketing. And to give you a little more detail on what the difference is, we are completely focused on lead generation now, aiming to follow up with real people and not just generating impressions and brand awareness, but guiding them through personalized, targeted communication journeys. So whether they attend a one-stop shop, or they come to a Freedom to Dream session, or they come to Viking Fest, or they see an ad on YouTube or TikTok, they're entering a pipeline designed to engage them meaningfully and move them closer to becoming a Del Mar College student. So I'm going to talk about 4 objectives under Goal 1 of the Strategic Marketing Plan. And this first one is actually, to me, the most critical. For the first time in Del Mar College's history, we have a customer relationship management tool called Element 451. It took a long time to get here to this day, and I want to thank purchasing and information technology and everybody that helped us get to today. But I'm really proud of the team, Gracie Martinez, Stephanie Salazar, Ralph Goonan, who have made this successful. We've been using it since January of 2025, and to be using it for Freedom to Dream, it's pretty incredible. We're already using that today. Here in a moment, we're going to talk about some metrics, but here you can see some things that we've launched or we are about to deploy. What's so critical about having a customer relationship management system for Del Mar College as it relates to enrollment marketing is we're able to automate and analyze communications interactions with our students. Eventually, we're not there today, but eventually the goal is that no matter who inquires about Del Mar College, they'll get specific information about their program of interest. So if it's a parent asking us questions about dual enrollment, they'll get information about that. Or if it's a student wanting to get into aviation maintenance, they'll get information about that and a follow-up call that can walk them through that process, to speak to Dr. Escamilla's experience earlier. We weren't able to convert him, oh well. So what we're doing is capturing leads, tracking interactions, and then we're working to automate all the follow-ups. So with Freedom to Dream, as Dr. Dominguez had mentioned, they're getting text and emails immediately and a call follow-up a little bit later on to start working them through that enrollment funnel so that they become a registered student at Del Mar College. The next thing I'm going to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about is the outbound calls that we've been making. This only is reflective of what's been done through Element 451. We're still working on integrating more of the staff with that platform, so not everything is captured in here that Gracie and her team is doing. But our teams together have done all of this in just April of 2025. This is all logged in the CRM system with notes and other items so that we can follow up with those students. So let's say that, Christina Garza, who is our outbound or marketing outreach specialist currently, can log some information about a student, but Gracie has to call them later. Gracie's gonna know that Christina made that call, she shared with the student a certain amount of information, and they can also go in the system and see, okay, they're this kind of major, they've submitted these documents, and that helps us be a lot more strategic about what we have a conversation with that student. And we're working on scaling this up. Again, this is a base, and we're going to keep scaffolding and building this team up so that everybody's working on calling and interacting with these students. The next piece I'm incredibly proud of as well. Last year, we launched Own Your Dreams, which was leveraging the college's dream equity in the community. And Own Your Dreams is really about outcomes. To Board Chair Scott's comment earlier, that's what matters. Graduation, but also like our students are finding meaningful careers and jobs. So that's what this campaign was centered around. We found alumni out in the community of various ages and various career stages that actually have jobs that graduated from Del Mar College and highlighted them. And I'll show you a few of those in a moment. Again, the strategy for our marketing has moved to lead generation, so we focus a lot more of our money on meta platforms, so Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and all kinds of things, all with the same intention, getting their email, their phone number, so that we could follow up with them with targeted communications to get them to register at Del Mar College. These are a few things, and I recognize that Today, this is where we're at. Where we want to be with the customer relationship management system is being able to actually track conversions, enrolled students. That's what we're working on today. So some of these things are vanity metrics. They're about site visits and form fills. I hope to share with you a year from now more and more about actual enrollments. Like, we delivered this ad to this student and they went through the enrollment funnel and now they're in process technology or now they're in philosophy. So today, these are some of the metrics that we're tracking, and we will not stop tracking these metrics, but eventually we'll kind of move more to focus on those enrollment conversions. The first student, I kind of want to give you guys a little taste and flavor of what we did. This is Ryan. He works at Gulf Coast Growth Ventures, and he's a process technology graduate.
Hey, I'm Ryan. I graduated from the instrumentation program at Del Mar College. I own my dream, and so can you. Tap the link to learn more.
All right, I'll admit I was incorrect. He was an instrumentation graduate. Thank God for the video. And then we also have Cameron and Sam here that kind of represent different stages of the career journey. Cameron is working towards being a dental hygienist. She was originally a dental assistant at Del Mar College working, and so she's progressing in her career. And Sam over there on the right, she was a dual enrollment student that had completed her welding certificate and is completed more credentials and is now also working in industry. So again, students in various stages of their career journey, focusing on outcomes and working towards getting lead generation stuff so we can follow up with students and parents and grandparents and whoever else fills out the form, right? The last thing I kind of wanted to hit on, and just one piece of goal 2 of the strategic marketing plan, is Viking Fest. So last year, for the first time ever, we collaborated with so many different departments, student leadership and campus life, and the welding faculty that was here earlier in the industrial technology department to launch Viking Fest. It also wouldn't be possible without physical facilities, Del Mar College Police, as well as environmental health and safety, so that we can pull something of this scale off. And I know Matthew is not here today, but I'm extraordinarily proud to have that partnership because they were able to raise $26,500 for our first ever Viking Fest and sponsorships that went to emergency scholarships, all kinds of other things.
Can I just say, this all began when the welding faculty, a couple of, I think it was Jose and Sam maybe, I don't know if it was Ryan, there was 2, maybe 3 of them. I was passing by the lab and they said, we have this idea, we just need a few bucks, Dr. Escamilla. And I'm like, okay. And I thought, okay, how many thousands? They said like $300. We just need a few $100 to get started. And we have this idea of a welding Dia de los Muertos competition. I said, man, that's the coolest, funkiest thing I've ever heard of. I was about to write him a personal check for right then and there. But we said yes, and we were not in a good state. This is on the heels of the appraisal district time. It was not good time, but nevertheless, we said yes. Let's throw that seed money down, and it turned into this. They just kept going. That energy just took off, interdepartmental throughout the college. Just they weren't afraid to ask, and that was great. That's just a fun little story.
No, absolutely, and I'm proud of them and student leadership and campus life being willing to partner on something like this because it really impacts student clubs and organizations and their ability to raise money, and the fact that they were able to raise more money than they had the last couple of years. I mean, I think that's something that we all should be extraordinarily proud of. And I wanted to invite you to this year's Viking Fest in 2025, and we've been kind of working with Dr. Escamilla's schedule a little bit. It's going to be on Saturday, November 15th. We're going to be sharing more information about that kind of when we get a little bit closer on time and some things as we work with the welding team and student leadership and campus life on identifying a time window to pull that off. It was extraordinarily hard to find a time this year, so we're happy to announce that today. I want to give you guys an opportunity if you have any questions about any of that.
Again, I just want to compliment the entire team on the elevation of this work. I think you are just doing a great job. And I'm so impressed with the kind of information that you're sharing and the strategic approach to what you're doing. Just great job. Comments or questions, David?
No, I agree, and I think one of the things that really ties back to Freedom to Dream and the finances that Raul was showing us is that as we're able to push down into and expand dual credit, that will make that financial system work better, and that as we do dual credit, that gets them in the CRM system, and we know who they are and we can communicate with them better. And so I think that's a wonderful way to do it. And also, my son loved destroying fruit that was freeze-dried by, I think it's the med students, the nursing students.
The chemistry
and the liquid
club or
nitrogen.
something.
Yeah, so we did a lot of that with a state rep. No, he really loves smashing grapes with a hammer. So looking forward to doing that again this year. So,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but when I think about where we were in 2015, 2016, we were doing the bond election at that point in time. And I remember a general organizational survey, there was 95%. There were in the 90 percentile people who have been to Del Mar or a close family member has, and their favorability rating of Del Mar College. So we know we are building on a good reputation, but for you all to be so strategic again in what you're doing and reaching down to families and potential students and really the engagement that you're doing is just really impressive. So thank you. Thanks, Jeff, for bringing all this forward. We look forward to these kind of updates. And now, Dr. Cheryl Sanders, she got another promotion. Cheryl Sanders and Dr. Patricia Benavides Dominguez are going to talk to us about our strategic enrollment management plan, dovetailing on what we just heard. We're bound and determined to get you a PhD or an EDD, so Cheryl, you better get to work on it.
She's ready. I just wanted to introduce AVP Cheryl Sanders, and she'll be presenting on the Strategic Enrollment Management Plan.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dominguez. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Regents, Dr. Escamilla. The Strategic Enrollment Management Plan focuses on 3 goals: recruitment and marketing, student onboarding, and retention and persistence. I'm pleased to share the progress, priorities, and the path forward as year 1 of Strategic Enrollment Plan implementation concludes. Today is about celebrating accomplishments aligned with Strategic Enrollment Management Goals 2 and 3. These efforts are entirely in step with the strategic plan guiding star 3, which is cultivate. Under this guiding vision, continuous strides are being made in 2 critical areas. Goal 1, nurturing our faculty and staff, and Goal 2, optimizing the Viking student experience. A key highlight of progress is the successful rebranding of Care Connection, a vital step in enhancing student support. As we look ahead, we will focus on the next phase of retention and student persistence priorities, ensuring continued growth and success for every Viking. In celebrating success, faculty participation in new student orientation is crucial because it helps students feel welcome, it sets a positive first impression of the college, and fosters connections with faculty early in the college journey. This participation can enhance student retention and overall academic success. Additionally, professional development for faculty is critical because it improves teaching effectiveness, it enhances student outcomes, and fosters collaboration. Ultimately, this leads to more engaged and successful students. Care Connection, formerly the Retention Alert Program, is an early intervention initiative to connect students with the DMC CARE team and support services. CARE stands for Campus Advocacy and Resource Education. It's a holistic approach designed to assess and support students facing challenges that could affect their academic, social, and personal success. Care Connection ensures that no student has to face difficulties alone. The original program was faculty-driven. It was an early alert program where faculty submitted referrals. They were called alerts at the time on behalf of students whose academic progress was being hindered. The retention office, retention case managers received the alerts, communicated with faculty, and reached out to students for assistance. This program was determined to be impactful, but it was reactive. Additionally, the language used could have created a particular mindset. For example, RAP program sounds like a rap sheet. Retention alert sounds like something might be on fire. Even the title case manager sounds a little like something might needs some investigation. So we've done a little rebrand of all of that. You've been provided a folder with a copy of the picture on this slide. The top Vikings Care QR code will take you to support services that are available for students, and the bottom QR code will take you to a site to self-refer or where referrals can be made for care connection support to the care team. Strategic Enrollment Management Goal 2 is to simplify and streamline the DMC onboarding process, including enrollment, advising, registration, and to create a seamless student experience. Objective 4 is to increase the percentage of students completing orientation. New student orientation is pivotal for students as it facilitates a smoother transition to the college by helping them connect with peers, faculty and staff, and understanding academic expectations. Despite its importance, not all students attend. To improve participation, multiple initiatives are underway. Under the leadership of Vice President Jeff Olson, there was a collaboration across divisions on journey mapping to develop a cross-departmental workflow to streamline the student onboarding experience. Several pre-orientation opportunities have been implemented this spring, such as dual credit info sessions and Freedom to Dream info sessions in the high schools and here at the college. Faculty will participate in new student orientation this summer, enhancing student belonging and engagement. This was realized through a collaboration with the Advising and Retention Committee, the Dean's Council, and the Chair's Council. Next, there's a commitment to scheduling additional pre-orientation activities and offering more incremental orientation activities. Additionally, staff are working on selecting a new comprehensive orientation software for those students that are unable to attend in person. College onboarding is key in helping students be informed, prepared, and engaged. So central to this process, we all know, is what selecting a major. With approximately 80% of students changing their major at least once, early career counseling is critical. Choosing an ill-fitting major can lead to excessive coursework, delayed graduation, increased educational costs, and decreased satisfaction. The career development staff, led by Jennifer Gonzalez, director, plays a vital role by offering career exploration counseling to help students align interests and strengths with academic pathways. The department has 2 upcoming pre-orientation initiatives in June focused on career exploration. Career exploration and discovery days comprised of counseling sessions for each high school. For example, Miller on one day, Moody the next day, etc., depending on the enrollment per school. And Viking Major Quest days, consisting of career assessments and breakout sessions on the various pathways that Del Mar has to offer. Strategic Enrollment Management Goal 3 is to cultivate a vibrant campus experience that enhances a sense of community connections and affinity with the college to increase affordability, persistence, graduation, and transfer rates. Objective 1 is to increase care connection referrals. Data sharing began last spring and continued throughout the fall semester, starting with the academic chairs, the deans, the summer academy, then fall faculty development day, convocation, and departmental meetings. Listening to feedback, referral categories were added to the care connection for fall 24. Attendance, tardiness, missing assignments, test grades, withdrawals, wellness, and basic needs were the original choices. Technology resources was added, academic support, which includes tutoring and accessibility. Wellness was separated into physical wellness and emotional wellness. The basic needs session was specified, so now there's an option for food, shelter, childcare, transportation, financial, and legal. And employment was added. The top reasons for referral are academic support and mental health support. And the academic departments with the highest amount of care connection referrals are computer science, nursing, and fire science. The current staffing ratios for advocacy specialists is at 1 to 5,000. Client to practitioner ratio, according to the International Association of Counseling Services, is 1 to 1,500. This includes social work and counselors. The care team has expanded beyond advocacy specialist, Ms. Danielle Newman. She's set the standard for care here at the college. The team now includes access specialists, counselors, success coach, tutor coordinator, student parent liaison, career counselor, and student engagement retention coordinator who assigns referrals to the appropriate team members. Enrollment is more than just numbers. It's about caring for our students. Goal 3, Objective 3 is focused on nurturing faculty to achieve their full potential by providing faculty with educational opportunities. Through the work of e-learning under the leadership of Dr. Janet Camps, there is now a required training for faculty who teach online. Civitas provides us with platforms to improve student success by leveraging data and analytics. It helps us gain insights into student performance, identify areas needing support, and gain insight to develop data-driven interventions. This ultimately aims to improve student outcomes like retention, graduation, and overall academic success. The goals with Civitas are to increase training on its capabilities, align cross-departmentally, and increase consistent use across functional areas.
Sure. Let me just kind of reintroduce the term Civitas to the Regents. Civitas is a predictive analytics software. We plug in the statistics of the demographics of our students, and it's a predictive tool that shows us where the students are going. And we've been using this tool for 10 plus years.
It's been a while.
And it's evolving. Now I can't wait to maybe do a commercial down the road at future board meetings on the newest edition or version that is being upgraded. Thank you for that opportunity for that commercial.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Escamilla. Throughout this academic year, 9 training opportunities were provided by the Director of Advising Initiatives, Ms. Leticia Wilson, on Civitas. In addition to one-on-one support, there were topics included such as registration refreshers offered either high flex in person or online, the online advising certification course, the 24/7 learning on-demand portal, and administrative analytics. Faculty knowledge of campus support resources empowers them to better guide students facing challenges. So understanding the resources and the data available, faculty can effectively connect struggling students to the support systems to receive the help that they need. For Fall 24 Faculty Professional Development Day, after attending the Pathways Institute, the Pathways team felt it fitting to share data and resource information with faculty. Under the leadership of Dr. Sydney Sambi, Associate Vice President of Institutional Effectiveness and Academics, the Pathways team, consisting of representatives from academic affairs, student affairs, and faculty, presented a session titled Supporting Students' Basic Needs. This presentation focused on students' basic needs and the role of the college's most powerful resource for student support, which is our faculty and staff. Data detailing the magnitude of students' experiencing insecurities regarding basic needs was shared, and the resources available to students at the college were reviewed in this session. Moving forward, the plan is to maintain current trainings and expand offerings to better equip faculty in fostering meaningful student interactions. Goal 3, Objective 4 is devoted to rebranding the Care Connection. College Relations worked their magic to help rebrand the Retention Alert program to Care Connection. They put new information with the QR code for easy access on Web DMC, Canvas, the Viking Go app, the website, digital monitors throughout the campus, and on posters. Students can now self-refer, which is a change because of feedback that we receive from students. Currently, faculty and staff use several systems to manage documentation regarding students, and this can impede coordinated efforts in service with Care Connection. So working with Ali, the Chief Information Officer, the pending colleague upgrade will allow case management notes in one system, so anyone that works with the student will know how they've been connected throughout the college. The Care Connection Awareness Campaign started last summer, and there have been on-demand sessions for academic departments. There have been student engagement First Fridays every month open to the campus. And information has been shared at Faculty Development Day, Convocation, academic division meetings, Faculty Council, and Dean's Council. Professional development opportunities on the Care Connection have expanded. So in addition to the basic needs session discussed on the Objective 3 slide, there was a session during Fall Faculty Development Day that addressed community connections and the Care Connection early alert system. Student engagement retention staff, under the leadership of Dean Rita Hernandez, unveiled changes to Care Connection, and participants learned about program and resource updates and related technology and had the opportunity to ask clarifying questions. Some even took the show on the road and shared best practices of the Care Connection program at a Pathways Institute. Dean Rita Hernandez, Assistant Dean Dr. Sarah King, and I were selected and presented at the Talent Strong Texas Pathways No. 4 in Fort Worth this fall. And we were provided excellent feedback on the session that we provided regarding our relaunch, rebrand of Care Connection. Last year, students using Care Connection had a 68% semester-to-semester persistent rate, which is 20% higher than those that were part of the original Retention Alert program. The relaunch has enhanced existing persistence initiatives and empowered institutional experts to coordinate and respond proactively before crises arise. Ultimately, the Viking student experience has been optimized. So looking at the road ahead, the focus is on streamlining operations and enhancing communications across departments to create a more connected and effective campus environment. Working together ensures every community member is supported and aligned towards shared goals. Through strategic enrollment management efforts, the college's ability to meet student needs academically, personally, and professionally is expanding. These goals are centered on making services more accessible and responsive. Goals and strategies will continue to be adjusted in response to new information and evolving circumstances that we've heard of today, such as the new customer relationship management tool, the pending colleague upgrade, the pending Civitas upgrade, House Bill 8, and Freedom to Dream. There's a commitment to continuous support from a student's first day to graduation, focusing on effective onboarding, strong retention practices, and encouraging persistence are essential to fulfilling the college's mission and long-term success. Thank you. Do I have any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Sanders. You have questions or comments? Mr. Lowe has his light on.
On the 32% that don't persist, is there any commonality as to what their issues were? Like, have we analyzed the data on, was there one thing that they needed more than others, and somehow, I guess, is there a way that we can derive from that what it is we need to work on in terms of finding partners for referrals, or better partners for referrals, or resources in a specific area?
For persistence, I think it's a broad range of reasons. I said we'll have to dig into the, doing a survey and finding out, and also looking at, what are our retention rates in particular areas to come back with an answer.
Okay. Can I take a stab at that? Go ahead. Sure. Go ahead, please.
Can I let Dean Hernandez speak a little bit?
Yes.
He's talking about the particular program, the Retention Alert Program, the Care.
Yeah.
And
So from the percentage of students that are not persisting, that's your question, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there a difference between what they needed versus what the students who did persist?
Not necessarily, no. So the items that are listed on our Care Connection referral are pretty typical for students who are not persisting, so it varies from student to student. However, we do have other initiatives. We have our Project Persistence Initiative, where we reach out to those stop-out students, and then we have a self-report needs assessment that we send out to the students so they can tell us exactly what happened, and then we can bring them back.
Okay, great. The training on professors and staff, is that something that everybody's going through, or is it voluntary?
So a lot of it is voluntary. I did mention one that was mandatory, which was the new one that e-learning is doing.
Okay.
The rest of them are voluntary.
All right. Any particular reason why they're all voluntary?
I have no idea.
Get back to you.
All right.
That may change.
I wasn't saying anything. I was just saying something. So, all right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Ms. Sanders. All right. Speaking of strategic plans, Natalie is going to give us an update on our current plan.
Good afternoon. You've heard a lot of powerful information in the past few presentations. So really the goal of this presentation is to wrap all of that into one and show you how we've been aligning and moving along strategically as a college. And as you can tell, it's really powerful right now. So the purpose of today is really to present those strategies and to discuss how the college is operationalizing this plan, which really means putting it into action. Talk a little bit about the successes and challenges that we've been having in the past few months, and then close out with talking about the next steps. In June 2024, this board adopted the strategic plan as we were projecting to what the next 5 years were going to look like for our students, faculty, staff, and our community. So in 2023, we knew the landscape of higher ed was changing dramatically. Our student demographics were shifting, our needs were increasing for our students, the economy in Texas was shifting. We were living in a new world that was post-pandemic, so that was new for us, and we were having to think about that. But also, if you remember, the past few years, the view of higher education has really been changing. Do we need higher education? What type of higher ed do we need? Is there an ROI? Those are all the different things that we were talking about as we moved forward with the plan. Now, with your guidance, we came up with a simple yet very strong vision that brings us back to our dreams. And then the mission that we came up with, that you helped us craft, really gives us the ability to touch every facet of our community, to transform, to build, and to enrich the lives of our families, our friends, and our neighbors. Sounds great, it looks beautiful, but now we move on to that next critical step, which is how do we operationalize the plan? Again, what specific moves are we taking day to day? From what you heard today and what you're going to continue to hear really is the intentionality that our leadership has taken. One example with that was VP Keys. She created these work groups that were very specific and focused on making sure that everything coming out of the strategic plan was focused on, that there were agendas and that there were timelines starting from our leadership to all areas of the college to incorporate what was really moving day in and day out. What were we doing to ensure that we were operationalizing this? And we really began focusing on programs and positions that added to the operations of the college that were in alignment with the plan. And that really came from working with human resources, with VP McDonald, working closely with Dr. Sambi in our assessment office and their team, and working also with Mr. Garcia and Ms. Jackie Landrum in the business office, all to incorporate to make sure, are we making the correct personnel choices? Are we assessing the correct things? Are we adding items into our budget that really flow and focus on the day-to-day operations of the strategic plan? That has been key. Another large part that has happened with our leadership is making sure that everybody who needs to be at the table is there, voicing their opinion. And that can be really hard to hear. We know how defensive we can get sometimes when we know we're doing a lot of great things, when you hear a lot about great things, but when you bring everybody to the table and sit down, you have some really courageous conversations. And I'm really proud to say that these teams have been doing that and working collaboratively together. The other part that we've talked about too is making sure that we weave the plan into our day-to-day decision making. So keeping the strategic plan at the forefront anytime we're talking about anything from a small decision to a very large, big overarching decision. So when it comes to communication, enrollment management, marketing, House Bill 8 funding, the presentations before you really gave you those numerous examples of not only the goals, right, that we keep talking about, but also the initiatives that are moving the needle. And then putting collaborative plans into action, allowing our leaders to emerge and take the lead on certain initiatives. So you've heard some new names today, right? And you've heard some new people come up and speak passionately about all the work that is doing. So that really is a tribute to our leadership and administration who is ensuring that we've got some new individuals who are coming up, taking leadership opportunities here at the college, and you're really hearing how they're creating those initiatives and helping them to grow. Another big part has been using House Bill 8 as a blueprint. We can attest that in the fall of '24, we spent a lot of time and energy digging into House Bill 8. That blueprint we knew was going to be crucial for every strategy that we put in place for the next few years and beyond. Another thing that you heard about today was new software tools, things like the CRM, right? Bringing in new software tools and really outside expertise to the college. We knew that where we are going, the visioning that you gave to us to create for the next few years, it was going to take a village. So not only the content experts, other people at the table here at the college, but also individuals out there who could bring new ideas and new perspectives. So we've been using consultants, again, new software tools that have really been helping us to grow and move forward. So I'm going to close with this, and that you're hearing today is the daily work that our faculty and staff are doing to really move the college forward strategically, and I commend everybody because everybody continues to do a phenomenal job. When we came to you with the plan in 2024, we gave you a list of all the initiatives and all the data points that we were planning to use once we got past the strategies and really started looking at the key performance indicators in the plan. So for example, you've heard about some of these today: the strategic enrollment management plan, the marketing plan. We've talked about the community college funding, especially when it comes to the Freedom to Dream initiative. Jesse brought up the brand health survey. Again, all of these things are aiming towards November, where we will be able to show you our key performance indicators again and talk and see if we have moved the needles using these as our data points. Does anybody have any questions so far? Thank you. As I review a few of these next slides, talking about the three major areas of the strategic plan, I'd like for you to just kind of keep in mind what we just reviewed, the intentionality, right, of all of our strategies, of everything that we're doing day to day, the buy-in from the team, weaving in the plan to day-to-day decision-making, the collaborative ideas and putting those ideas into actual action plans, and then the processes and outcomes that we're focused on really getting our students outcomes and getting them successful. So with Jessie, you heard about Goal 2, connecting beyond the college. And what she talked about was really prioritizing enrollment marketing. And you saw the Freedom to Dream initiative as a key example of just one area that the college is doing a lot in. She also talked about increasing the DMC brand awareness across the coastal band, including the brand health survey. So those are some really key day-to-day ideas that are moving forward, and I thank the team for all of that. Jason referred to driving record enrollments, right, with that new CRM tool or the customer relationship management tool. So we actually get to count all of those improvements with our relationship. And Chair Scott, you finally get to see those metrics that you've been asking for. Is yes, we see all the ads, we see all the commercials, where are the enrollments? And today we were able to give you that. And I think that just shows you all the great work that is happening. And then what a great example with the DMC Viking Fest that had over 2,500 attendees. That goes to show you all of the great work that continues to happen in the fall and the spring. With Elevate, Goal 1 is to increase completion for all students and driving the record enrollments, which is again what you heard about from the college relations team, our student affairs, everybody that's involved with recruitment and enrollment under Dr. Benavides Dominguez and Dean Gracie. Sorry about that. And then again, going back to Freedom to Dream gives you that example of the response to the individual needs, calling you right back, texting you right after you say, hey, guess what? I think I am interested in this freedom to dream thing, but I'm not really sure what that means. Well, within a few minutes, within a couple of hours, you actually have somebody that you're talking to on the phone. And we've got individuals like Christina who's working, who's picking up the phone, and she's so excited. If you get a chance to meet her, she's that person that you hear on the phone, and it's great. Dr. Turner, I see you shaking your head. We've got a lot of great additions to the college, and they're providing that passion and that energy that you see in the strategy. With Goal 2 under Elevate, it really is aligning that institutional framework back to the HB funding, which is so critical. So with HB 8, remember, this just kicked off. So we kicked off with the emergency rules. So we all had to pivot very quickly to learn those emergency rules. And then moving forward, we had to shift. So now, how do we structure the college with this new financial piece, this new structure? However, at the same time, we're also putting our students first. I'd say it's going to go back to the intentionality, having the right people in the room. So, for example, when we had those really heart-to-heart meetings about how we get everything we can out of House Bill 8 while including our students first, we had the credit side in the House. We had dual enrollment. We had continuing education. We had the registrar's office. So you had the big people with the clouds and fun and freedom to dream, and then you had the detailed people in the room who are saying, well, wait, you can't do that because of this form. It says this and that. And so we've been going from everything from large picture to small, minor detail and ensuring that we get all of that correct. Does anybody have any questions on that? And lastly, cultivate. With AVP Cheryl Sanders, she talked to you about all the wonderful initiatives, for example, like the Care Connection that are happening, optimizing the Viking student experience, having professional development for our faculty, who really are the front lines of our work, encouraging faculty participation, working with college relations to promote new student orientation. Again, what you're hearing over and over again are the teams collaborating. We've always collaborated here at the college, but again, it's very intentional and it really is at a different level. We have tried to keep our people in the forefront of all of this. And when we talked about the vision and mission, we also created those 6 values. So this slide just goes to show you a great example of the faculty and staff that are creating and showing the values every day, really charting the Viking way. And so we decided to honor them. And so we have everybody from Dean Dr. Jennifer Schramek to Jose Cortez, who you met a little earlier with welding. Empathy with Ms. Renee Hundley, one of our accessibility specialists who are doing phenomenal work. Courage, Dean Rachel Benavides, our community advocate, Dr. Jim Klein, everything that he has done, not only for here at the college, right, but at the community level and in the Coastal Bend. And then here's somebody that you don't see, but she is a rock star here at the college, and she works day in and day out providing scholarships for our students, and that's Miss Elsie Odom, who defines resourcefulness for us. So again, these are just 6 of the individuals here at the college who chart the Viking way every day. And strategically, we want to ensure that we're keeping our people at the forefront of our work, because they really are the people who do the work every day. We've had some successes and challenges in the past few months. Successes, I feel like I've just touched on those. There's been an increased engagement as a whole by the college. You've mentioned it out there in the community, just with Freedom to Dream. There's an excitement out there. There's an energy, and we've been feeling it, and we've been catalyzing on it, and it's really exciting. The work has been very focused. It's been very intentional, and you already are hearing about the improved outcomes. You're seeing the data already. So we're really excited in November that I can come back to you and say, we blew those KPIs out of the water, actually. The reason we made this plan so flexible is so that we can come back and realign the KPIs, because we are doing so well in some of them, and then looking at the areas that, of course, we need to continue focusing on and working on. The challenges. We all know about those executive orders that are coming at the federal and state level. Some of them, they come in and then they get backtracked. So we're having to watch those very carefully. But we are, and know that we are looking at every detail of those and ensuring that we don't miss anything as we continue to serve the mission of the college. And then I'll have to end with the biggest challenge, and I think most of the people in this room can agree, is trusting the process. There's so many things we want to do today. There's so many things, and we still have to do this, and we still have to do that. And with that excitement, though, comes a lot of that frenetic energy of wanting to get everything done. And thanks to our leadership, we've got timelines going that are really going to continue to move the needle as we continue the next 5 years of the plan. So give us a little bit more time on that. Does anybody have any questions on that? We're going to continue to operationalize the work, and by that, we're going to continue working with those diverse teams that we've talked about, bringing everybody to the table, having our leadership lead us with these, focus-driven meetings, creating timelines while keeping the energy up. We're going to keep preparing for those state and federal changes. We'll know here in the next month what things are happening like at the state level. And then the big question now is, what do we prioritize next? So all the great things that you heard about today, as we continue to work on those, Dr. Escamilla is already working with us to say, okay, but what's next? What's coming up next year? What's coming up the year after that? So we're already having those conversations. And again, we hope to bring you that data and those KPIs in November. Does anybody have any questions about the strategic plan?
It's a great comprehensive between marketing and communication, strategic enrollment management in this update. I think it's a really good body of work to help us see how it's all connected. So I want to appreciate, I know that was a heavy lift for some staff members to get all of that aligned, and we just appreciate, I think that it's really, really helpful for us. Yes, sir. Dr. Babley?
Just a remark. This translates to the energy we see about Del Mar College in the community. I really feel that we have an enhanced energy levels that I haven't seen in any other educational institution in this region. I mean, absolutely how it permeates. I mean, we may talk about it conceptually here, but the way you personalized some of the central concepts, and that shows how what you believe in and what we believe in is impacting on the community. So I really compliment you on and the leadership on this aspect.
I agree. All right, I see no other questions or comments. Thank you, Dr. Villarreal.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. But you're going to stay here and give us our legislative update.
So I'm going to switch hats a little bit. I'm going to try to keep the energy up for this presentation. And so what I'd like to do on this next report is talk to you about legislative updates, what's happening right now at the Capitol. We are a few weeks to June 2nd, which is the last day of the 89th legislative session. But I also want to talk to you a little bit about what's happening with House Bill 8, which came in from the 88th session. A few of the bills that we're going to focus on today, including the House Bill 888 cleanup bill. Also talk about general appropriations, because that's going very well. Talk about Senate Bill 37 that we've been working strategically on. House Bill 3093, the ad valorem tax bill, and then House Bill 19 regarding issuance and repayment of debt. And then I'll talk a little bit about federal legislation. You hear about the executive orders on the news and the proposed changes and the things that are happening in the courts. I'd like to also focus today on the changes in our actual day-to-day college work that are happening because of what's happening at the federal level. So I'd like to start with the cleanup bill from House Bill 8. It has now moved to Senate Bill 1786. Before it was also a House bill, but it's officially now Senate Bill 1786. Now, when we started in January, we talked a little bit about ICUT. Mr. Kroll, do you remember what ICUT stands for? Independent Colleges and Universities. I remember because he asked me, what is ICUT? Again, we're so bad at the acronyms. But if you remember correctly, when we started with House Bill 8, the private institutions, the transfer to the private institution 4 years was not in the bill. So after looking at finances, the colleges really felt that this was an important priority to try to ensure that our students who were transferring to those private institutions, that the colleges were receiving appropriations for that as well. This bill has gone extremely well. There have been several versions to it, but we're happy to say that it has moved very quickly through the legislative process. It has been voted on by the House and the Senate favorably, and so now really the next action is to move to the governor's desk. So whenever the governor is ready to sign it, that will be signed into law, and this one is going to go into effect September 1.
Wow.
So some of the changes that came up specifically about this bill, again, it happens so quickly, as you know, at times the state legislature puts things into law and then comes the details later to figure out. So what Senate Bill 1786 really does is it focuses on these 4 areas. Again, that formula funding to the students who transfer to the independent colleges and universities. It changes the language into a more detailed for the lawyers in the room. For example, it changes it from saying this qualifies for high school students. It specifies now grade 9th through 12th. So again, very small, minor details are being changed in the language, but things that are important to really move forward. It adds reporting to our state leadership. Nobody really loves, I would say, adding more reports, but the coordinating board and the LBB really felt there needed to be more emphasis on adding more reporting to that. And then also, I do have a handout sheet. We talked about credentials of value very early on in January and February. There was a lot of confusion at the beginning of the legislative session about what a credential of value actually is. And so what has really helped this process is in the bill, there's now language identifying what that COV is and ensuring that we are getting the appropriations for the credentials of value, but also if things change rapidly in our area, that we are able to go to the state board and ask for changes in our appropriations because of changes in degrees and programming. Does anybody have questions on Senate Bill 1786 or the cleanup bill for House Bill 8?
We've not heard any concerns from the governor's office. It's just a matter of timing, correct?
Yes.
As far as we know? Okay.
Correct. And Dr. Escamilla, I believe you will be on that subcommittee, so we will continue to hear from that committee on the rulemaking. And then we have other individuals like Dr. Leonard Rivera, who are also very involved at the state level, so we'll continue to get that feedback from them.
The definition of credentials of value, is that broad enough to where it's flexible to where if emerging technologies or emerging areas that can be added as time goes on, or is this a defined list?
It is a defined list through a formula, and so it really depends on the demand in the area. There's 2 different lists, a demand in the specific area, so the Coastal Bend region, but also in the state of Texas. And so if, for example, something changes and we do have something in demand, we have the opportunity to go back to the coordinating board and the legislature and ask for a change of that.
So it would have to go to the legislature to be added?
It would have to go to the coordinating board, just report it to the legislature.
Okay, just
they like to keep track.
So the coordinating board can make the adjustments.
Yes.
Okay.
It'll move more quickly through the coordinating board.
Yeah.
And we just submitted, or this Friday, we will be, next Friday, the 15th, whenever that is. That's like, okay, sorry. Okay, so the 25th, we're going to submit our local listing of the regional listing of our 5 high demand areas, and so that list is being worked on. We met on that the other day.
The definition is on the back side of that page.
And Regent Kroll, this is one of those details we really had to go to all of our legislators and explain this to them because it can be difficult to understand. And so we did go do that in January and February. And then the Texas Association of Community Colleges and Community College Association of Texas Trustees also did a lot of that groundwork as well. So we really feel that benefited us to where we are now with a lot of the positive language in this bill.
Thank you.
Moving on to our general appropriations bill. So for fiscal year 2026-2027, community colleges are poised to get $337 billion in state appropriations. Everything has gone well in this, that we don't, again, same with the governor's office, we're not hearing anything that would oppose our funding. The next thing is they're currently in concurrence with, in conferee between the two chambers. So as soon as they get those details, you're going to see the governor sign this. This won't be until about maybe 3 to 5 days before session ends. So this will be towards the end. So it is not signed. There is no signature. So we continue to watch it closely, but we don't believe that there's anything that would change our outcomes. And so that bill would come into law September 1st. SB 37. This has been a bill that we've had to collaborate on as a state, as organizations, our professors and instructors, organizations, unions, and all faculty senate councils have really been focused on this. Universities, community colleges are working together on this bill. There's some language here that we brought to you that could be challenging for you as a board to have to take on new responsibilities. And we also know that it would change the dynamics within our governance structure here at the college, along with curriculum. And so what I can tell you is that this bill is moving forward. Senate Bill 37 will continue. The one area, there are a few areas that we did have an ability to work on and to amend. And so that's really where the focus is right now. So the focus is not on getting the bill to go away, but the focus is on, can we make some minor changes that our community colleges can live with at this time until we can continue those conversations with the next legislative session. Yes, sir.
Dr. Villarreal, let me jump in there really quick. Regents, I want you all to know that I put together a small team consisting of Dr. Villarreal, Mr. Rivera, Audit Rivera, and Ms. McDonald to take this piece of legislation apart from the very get-go. I've told them don't spend a whole lot of energy just yet, because that was a few weeks ago and we needed to get to the end final version to dissect this thing. We are taking it apart. There are going to be implications. This is probably worthy of a future workshop in the near future to take apart, because there's so many implications regarding the faculty and how they operate, the administration, and how those two facets operate differently now as a result, and or the same as we've been operating. We've got to reconcile a lot of things in here. There will also be implications for the Board of Regents, and we're going to take them all apart and analyze the pieces and the parts, and then come back to you for a synthesis of what we think the final version is, according to Del Mar College. Because again, a lot of those things are already being done. They're being done well. I would say best practice in the field, as good as anybody in the country. And then there's some new things that we just have to make some adjustments on. So stay tuned for that.
We have worked with our faculty council, with Dr. Halcom and team, and also, again, thanks to VP McDonald and Mr. Rivera, because some of those, they actually went in and looked very detailed at every aspect of this bill. And we have given those recommendations to TAC, who then sent those to the governor's office, to the lieutenant governor's office, and the speaker's office. So we are in talks with individuals at the Capitol who are in the decision making, and so they are aware, very aware. In fact, community colleges have had a very loud voice on this. So, does anybody have questions on Senate Bill 37? Let's talk about a favorable bill. House Bill 3093 by our freshman House Rep Denise Villalobos went through. This is actually, since we put this slide together, it is outdated. This bill has now gone uncontested and on the Senate floor. And so this should be heading to the governor's office for signature. This one really made a significant difference for us, as we talked about last time, regarding the calculation of ad valorem taxes and what that can do to a taxing entity. when an industry partner challenges or contests that. And so we had a lot of support. Although this bill continues to stay local for our coastal areas, so what you're seeing pass is our coastal communities. Possibly in the future, this is something that could be addressed at the state level, but we're very happy that we had such proud leadership to push this forward with us. And we also did this in conjunction with the county and the city as well. So thank you to them.
So we do have to give credit. Denise carried it on the House side, but Senator Chuy Hinojosa and his staff have been working for 2 years on this legislative language. And so while it went forward as House Bill 3093, we do have to give credit to Senator Hinojosa for his work on this.
So yes, please thank them the next time you see them. This is monumental. I'm going to close with House Bill 19. This also has been a labor of work from a group, a coalition in the Coastal Bend with the CCREDC, the City of Corpus Christi, Nueces County, and Corpus Christi ISD really teamed together to advocate, to discuss the challenges with this bill. Now, at the beginning of the legislative session, when the governor came out with his priorities, taxes was at the forefront of that. So there's a lot going on that we know we will not be able to necessarily change the outcome of the full bill, but again, we're looking at making sure that our voices are heard and that there can be any amendment that can focus on helping us to get us through that we can live with until possibly the next legislative session. With this one, House Bill 19, this was a very large bill. As you can tell, it's a low number. So it was a high priority. It did not have a companion bill, which means it didn't have a bill on the Senate side to push it forward. And yet it stayed pretty dormant here until towards the end, which is a little bit of surprising, which this bill is a great example of the hardball and the politics that happened at the Capitol. And so this was filed in early March, but as of yesterday, this bill has what they call died in the legislative session. And so the challenge with that is that even though this bill is no longer moving forward, there are several other bills now that have similar language that are moving forward. So that seems to be the strategy. So we just got a list of those bills. Several of them are by Senator Betancourt, so SB 1024 and SB 1453. So we will be analyzing the small parts of those bills that all congregate to formally House Bill 19. So we will be in contact back with that as we continue working to try to change what we can with this legislation.
I've got a question about that. So the new bills that are working their way through the Senate, with a hard cap at 20%, is there exceptions, say, for hurricanes or catastrophes?
So when we were working House Bill 19, that was one of the amendments that we were asking for in terms of that. But now with these smaller bills, we're going to have to look and see. The coalition is still together, and I know Mr. Garcia has done extensive work on House Bill 19. So if there are any more detailed questions on the finances about it, I believe he's also prepared to answer that. But now we're using all the letters, all the meetings that we were scheduled to have for the committee, for the House Ways and Means Committee. It's now going to have to shift to all the other committees and legislators who are now focused on the smaller bills. Okay. So we are actually working on that as we speak.
Thank you.
Well, with 3 weeks left in the session,
it was very strategic.
What are the odds of some of these things getting through?
With these, because they've been slowly already moving, and not that they weren't being paid attention to, but because they were smaller tax bills, they were kind of moving slowly, so they were still moving. And so there is still a possibility. Senator Betancourt is the chair of the local government committee in the Senate, so he can pass them very quickly if he chooses to.
Yeah, well, it still has to get on calendars now. I think that's an important aspect of this.
Yes. So those bills are continuing to move, although House Bill 19 has not.
That 20% thing, that can cripple a lot of taxing entities.
it's a substantial bill, and it's wreaking havoc across the state.
And I'd like to thank Mr. Garcia and Dr. Villarreal and others. I forget who else were on that team, Lenora and John and Tammy. I think everybody, there's a lot of thumbprints on this. We put together a sizable piece of work to just send up to Austin to support the things. And Regent Kelly, your notion of us being a coastal area, that was high, if not the highest on the list for that. So that, you know, we wanted to put something in there that would enable us to recover should that happen, even with insurance. So
I'd just add on that. I mean, the rest of the state gets tornadoes, and in a rural school district, they tend to group everything together. So one tornado strike that runs through the school complex, they don't get to rebuild. I mean, because 20% is easily going to, I mean, the cost of, 20%, 30% damage to a school facility that covers a multi-county area, I mean, they'll never get it back. They're consolidating at that point. So, yeah, I mean, I understand the concept, but, I mean, the voters vote on this stuff. And, I mean, I think, yeah, there's I heard a funny story that HB 19 got killed because the sports team showed up and basically said, this means we're never going to have another professional sports stadium built in Texas. And to me, that was the most Texas way for a bill like that to die. Is what killed it was the one that most people, that you have the largest group of people who think is egregious and wasteful. So but
yes, nobody was taking credit for House Bill 19 within the past couple of weeks. So So again, we have just a few more weeks of the session. So after June 2nd, we'll be able to see kind of where we stand and how we progress with everything from taxes to our curriculum and our shared governance. But rest assured that there is a very large community college voice at the state capitol. The leadership is very aware of the challenges that are coming with this. We also know that we have an appropriations that is, extensive, and that the colleges are working extremely hard with House Bill 8 and what comes with that, and they are also very aware of that as well. So there are some positives, some challenges, but we'll move forward.
So from a Senate Bill 37 side, Dr. John DeHalcom will be jumping in to represent the instructional side. So I want all the faculty instructional leaders to know that we'll have that ready. It was a just-in-time kind of setup so that we weren't wasting anybody's time, but now everybody's got to jump in, and thank you, Dr. Halcomb, for jumping in.
So before we leave state stuff, I do have a question, and I don't have bill numbers around the housing finance corporations. Do you know where legislation is sitting on how those HFCs are? I know there was some legislation to try to limit or to roll back what HFCs can do in terms of a taxing district. Have we been following that, or maybe you could get a...
There was some legislation, but in talking with the city and the county, that legislation wasn't going to make any difference to what is currently happening within Nueces County, regardless if the bills move forward or not. So we didn't put them out as a priority.
Okay. Is that consistent with what you hear?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I had a comment on 37, which is I have noticed since joining the board that we have a very large group of staff who are responsible for reporting to state and federal agencies on any number of subjects. And having, been through our audit process, I saw, on the audit committee, we had a meeting about what we're going to see in a little bit. And I noticed in 37, there's an opportunity for us to provide a report to the legislature on a yearly basis. And as it seems like you guys think it's going to pass, and I assume that's going to stay in there, I'd like to suggest that we add a financial number for what our compliance costs are, so they can better understand that when they pass something, that is being passed along to the taxpayers or the tuition payers or our industry partners to pay for that compliance. And hopefully that will engender some understanding of why we resist some of these things, because we want to spend our time and money educating the public. And I understand that they're providing us resources and that they deserve to know how those resources are being spent. But one of those is how much of their resources are getting spent ensuring, on stuff like that.
We're making note, Ms. Perez and Mr. Garcia are making notes to that effect. So we'll see what we can put together.
So Representative Shaheen, who's carrying it, HB 4499, which is the version on the House side, he was asked that in committee, and the answer to that was that it should only be every 5 years, the report that they're asking for. So we'll have to dig into, the validity of that, and that we really should only have to report every 5 years. The question on our end is, if we, though, provide, because of our own shared governance and our own processes and procedures, do yearly reporting, even though they're not asking for it, would we still have to turn it in, which again adds another element. So those are questions that we are currently asking.
Okay, thank you.
Version of program review that we already have, and I'm reading the faces over there of our team members and so forth. So a modified approach by putting a fiscal note to what we have is going to be the solution there. So we've got those noted.
Thank you. So I'm going to end with the federal advocacy work that is being done. So although we are in state legislative session, we are still watching the federal work. We continue to work with AACC, the American Association of Community Colleges, and the Association of Community College Trustees at the federal level. And some of the other states who are not in session right now are really the ones who are trying to kind of keep everybody up to date what's happening federally. And so through the executive orders, through the changes in the Department of Education, there hasn't been anything new in the past couple of weeks, but there has been significant change in the day-to-day work that's going on in the college. So I wanted to address that today. In talking with my colleagues here at the college, we know that adult education and literacy, that budget that is here at the state comes from the federal level. And in talking to Dean Benavides, it looks like there will be cuts in fiscal year 26-27. Again, we don't know what that looks like, but they are currently trying to work and figure out what that actually means for us at a state level and for our students in our community. Another area that came up with Dean Rita Hernandez is our career services. So for example, we used to have, because DEI is now really being focused on, we used to have career fairs, for example, to try to recruit women into welding or try to recruit men into the nursing fields. Those career fairs are no longer happening. And there's not any engagement anymore in professional development regarding certain areas such as neurodivergence, which is challenging because those requests in our advocacy programs are coming in more and more for students who need those services. Unfortunately, right now, our staff is not able to provide that professional development training. Some other areas included the USDA funding. Since the USDA funding is being cut, that also has direct impacts to Valdar's market because we do work to receive funding from them. And then lastly, another area was our library resource database. Dean Cody Gregg has been keeping us up to date on that. With some of the executive orders, there have been some challenges with what our database is and what we can offer and pay for. That has since, I believe, been rescinded. And so again, we continue keeping track of all of those areas that are impacting our faculty, our staff, and our students. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Can you address the accreditation, how it impacts on the last point there?
Accreditation. So that there haven't been any specific rules changed in accreditation except for the order by the governor saying that institutions no longer have to stay within one accrediting body, that you can go outside of your region and request for accreditation. Talking with Dr. Sambi, that can be challenging because just because you can move accrediting bodies, it doesn't mean that that body will actually choose to take you in. You have to apply Is that correct, Dr. Sambi? And so the real challenges that we're seeing right now are all the areas that are affecting the credibility of our accrediting agencies and bodies and where that could possibly go.
So how will that impact on diversity issues and DEIs? I mean, SACS has to be inclusive, right? How does it affect?
SACS has to be inclusive, but I think what we're learning is that institutions don't have to abide necessarily by an accrediting body such as SACS. You would have that option.
And that won't affect reaccreditation or?
We don't know.
Dr. Sambi, you can give us your opinion and then I'll follow up.
Sure. So it's a weird time. Sorry, my chair got stuck. So we're going to do as much as we can to stay the course, which is what we've been doing, getting ready for our 5th year interim report. There's limitations on what we can do. And I mean, it's not, these executive orders aren't just impacting SAC, COC, and institutional accreditation directly, but there's a lot of changes that are happening with like federal reporting and the staff at IPEDS got cut quite a bit. So we go to organizations like that to get some of our information in terms of how we disaggregate student success data. We've got obligations on reporting there. So it's sort of like mounting issues about what we can do, what is going to be available to us. But we will stay the course as much as we can until I'm told otherwise.
We're just going to have to, we're going to see what the 5-year report looks like. I think that's if there's a silver lining in what we have, we're facing the 5-year report to be submitted in fall of 26. So I think that'll be a good test case to move forward for the decennial 5 short years after that in 2031. So it's a situational approach, Dr. Beverly and Regents, and I'm listening. We've got our ears to the track, and I know we've got a new CEO of SAC COC coming in. We've got a lot of change going on, so I think stay tuned and let's just take it situationally. That's the best answer I have right now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Villarreal. All right, one more staff report. I know this is heavy on staff reports today, but I think this is a lot of good information that we need, yeah. So next is going to be Mr. Garcia and Ms. Landrum giving us our preliminary budget presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, Mr. President, and members of the board. Today marks the first of several budget discussions leading up to the August board meeting, where the 2025-2026 budget proposal will be presented to the board for approval. This presentation includes an overview of the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award Program, the budget planning process, and key milestones in our budget calendar. We will also highlight internal and external factors that may influence the allocation of financial resources in ways that best support the college's strategic plan. Ms. Landrum will now kick off the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Board of Regents, Dr. Escamilla. So the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award Program was established in 1984 by the Government Finance Officers Association, also referred to as GFOA. So the intent of the program is to encourage and assist state and local governments to prepare budget documents of the very highest quality that reflect both the guidelines established by the National Advisory Council on State and Local Budgeting and the GFOA's best practices on budgeting, and then to recognize individual governments that succeed in achieving that goal. In order to earn this recognition, our budget book must meet the program's criteria and excel as a policy document, a financial plan, an operations guide, and a communication tool. The college started participating in this program in 2010 and did so until 2016, earning the award each year. Due to program changes, the college did not participate from fiscal year 2017 to 2020. However, the college began participating again in fiscal year 21 and has earned the award each year, along with the Triple Crown Award. The Triple Crown Award recognizes governments that have received the GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting, Popular Annual Financial Reporting Award, and the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. I am happy to report that we have submitted our fiscal year 2025 budget book, and the book is available on our website. Are there any questions? Thank you. It's a lot of teamwork. We got a great team.
I think I was told a long time ago when we first established that we were the first community college in the United States to achieve all three the first time in 1 year.
I believe so, yes.
We were the first one in the United States.
Yes. All right. So now let's talk about our budget process. So we've gone through that planning phase, that information gathering phase, and we're now in the review and recommendations phase, which will go through July. So during this time, we're reviewing all of our budget requests, we're identifying our priorities, and then we'll begin making some recommendation on which priorities we're going to fund for next year. So the final two phases of our budget process is the budget and the property tax approval phase, which we will do in August. My color's changed. So what can we expect moving forward? So in June, we'll have another update for our board members. In July, we will get our certified appraisals on July 25th. July 29th, we will conduct our budget workshop where we will seek the board members' recommendations or any feedback that you may have. And then July 31st, we will send out our preliminary budgets to our budget managers. August 12th, we will come back with another budget update, and we will seek the board's approval to conduct our public hearing for the fiscal year 2026 budget. August 26th, we will conduct our public hearings and seek board's approval on our proposed budget and our proposed property tax rates. September 1st is the deadline to approve our budget, and September 30th is the deadline to approve our tax rate. Are there any questions? Okay, Mr. Garcia.
I'd have a question, probably not for you, more so for
Yes.
Dr. Escamilla. When do we expect the runs from the supplemental and the general appropriations bill? Do we know what those anticipated revenues are?
I'm trying to answer the first part of it.
Just maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to make a number up or a date up right now.
Maybe just research that, and maybe at the June meeting, we could have a discussion about whether or not those are already done, and
yeah, no,
we'll see those numbers early on, I would think.
Yeah, it's typically, it's got to be in the next month. I mean,
Okay.
obviously that. I just don't have that date. But as soon as we do, I'll send them to you, especially very quickly.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Okay. Mr. Garcia will continue with potential external factors and challenges.
So listed on this slide are recent business developments and proposed legislative changes that could potentially impact the college's property tax revenue and budget planning process for fiscal year 2025 and 2026. Thanks to Dr. Villarreal, who continues to remain actively engaged in the legislative process. She keeps the college well informed on that, as you already heard in the previous presentation. And the college will continue to monitor these business developments with a focus on maintaining long-term financial sustainability. So let's talk about point number one. CPS Energy recently acquired power plants relating to the Barney Davis and the Nueces Bay Energy Center properties here in Corpus Christi. CPS is a tax-exempt, municipal-owned utility company based in San Antonio that provides electricity and natural gas services to local residents and businesses. Its vision for delivering modern, affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy services may have been the key factors behind this acquisition. The combined appraised value for these properties represents a reduction in the college property tax revenue of approximately $500,000, which would offset tax revenues from other properties in our district. The second item, Corpus Christi Housing Authority. Over the past 5 months, the Housing Authority has purchased nearly 20 private properties and is converting them into tax-exempt affordable housing. The combined appraised value of these properties represents a reduction in the college property tax revenue of approximately $1.1 million, which would offset tax revenues from other properties in our district. And then HB 9. Currently, property owners of tangible personal property used to produce income for tax purposes qualify for a $2,500 state ad valorem tax exemption. This new legislative proposal will increase the state tax exemption amount to $250,000. This legislative piece, while it doesn't impact the college directly, the change would reduce taxable property valuations, resulting in lowered revenue for school districts and increasing the state's financial responsibility for funding public education. This includes community colleges. The estimated fiscal impact to the state is about $236 million starting in 2026, and it is projected to grow to $538 million by 2030. I think Dr. Nelly Valeria has done a great job in talking about the last two bullet points. So if there's any questions, I can take them now.
On HB 9 I know on the other tax compression stuff, they are doing school districts only. Is the business property tax an exemption for all business property tax, personal property under $250,000?
I would have to read it a little bit more closely to get to that level of detail, but I know it is a tax exemption if the personal property or tangible property is used as a way to generate income for the person or entity.
Yeah, and I guess I'd like us to check on that, whether it's affecting how much taxable property we have, and if so, how much there is in our taxing district. I know that I think one of the reasons why they're considering it is it can vary geographically very much on how aggressive the appraisal district is at going in and saying, okay, restaurant, you've got $10,000 worth of tables, here's your personal property tax statement.
I see.
And I know, like, I've seen, when I look up our addresses on ours, I'll see tenants that have personal property declared, and I'll see some that don't. And so it's kind of, to me, it'll be interesting to see what that total is and whether that's affecting us. And
so I did meet with Deborah Maureen, who's the interim
chief appraiser.
Chief appraisal, thank you. And so, I'll reach out to her and see if she can give me some additional information as to what is the financial impact to our district. More to come.
From the standpoint that isn't the stored oil in the tanks at the refineries considered personal property? So each one of the refineries is going to get a $250,000 credit against their inventory.
Against their inventory, right.
So that you add that up to over 6 or 7 refineries, that's $1 million plus.
Right. On the value of the.
On the value, yes.
The value, yes. Mm-hmm.
So, I'd like us to get a little bit more information on how much impact that's going to be.
I was going to ask Dr. Villarreal, can you jump in on HB 9 and tell us what the latest that you picked up before the meeting?
So that one is now a priority bill for the entire state for all the community colleges with TAC. So we did talk to Ray, our CEO at TAC, and Jacob, our Director of Legislative Affairs. So that is one that we are going to have to shift to and really focus on as a state because you're right, it is very impactful.
Yeah, okay, all right. But yeah, I think we need to ask the appraisal district to total up what that costs in terms of aggregate valuation.
Okay.
Yeah, I've talked to Ms. Modine as well on that issue. She wasn't ready to give me that number, so we'll follow up with a phone call to the appraisal district immediately.
Okay. Great, thank you.
The other issue is the raise in exemption, overall exemptions. Isn't there a bill to raise the base exemption?
I think that's just for school districts.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I think they're backstopping it with state money. But I don't think this one is that.
No, this is different.
That one is correct. The state, because ISDs do get the backfill, they're not so much as focused on that, and we're not looking into that one either. I do have a list that we can provide that does show all the new tax bills that are now moving forward. So.
All right. Okay, Ms. Landrum will close out the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. So now we're going to go over our revenue challenges and assumptions for our fiscal year 2026 budget. For tuition and fees, we're not increasing our tuition rate in order to comply with the governor's request. We are still evaluating our enrollment levels, especially with the interest that we've had into Freedom to Dream. We hope to have better information on the program's financial implications for our next board meeting in June, so hopefully we'll have some better information. For property tax revenue, we are evaluating our overall tax rate. Our preliminary values are trending similar to what our preliminary values last year were. So typically we look at doing 3 to 4% net valuation growth. However, with those potential impacts that Mr. Garcia just discussed, and then with this being the second year of that circuit breaker that went into effect, we're estimating conservatively, and we are assuming a 2% net valuation growth with our current estimate. So again, this is preliminary, and this may change once we receive our certified values. In the last 5 years, we have ranged anywhere from $450 million to $950 million in new construction. For our current estimate, we're using $500 million. And then based on the preliminary values that I received the other day, currently we're at $495 million. So that estimate is relatively close. For state appropriations, it's still early, and we likely won't get any kind of estimate from the state until probably June, maybe July, but I'm thinking we got it in June last year, so I think we'll receive something in June, hopefully. So we have to be decided on that. For our fast appropriations, we are increasing our budget to the amount that we received for fiscal year 24, just to bring that budget up. So are there any questions before I move on? I am sorry. So for our preliminary revenue budget for fiscal year 2026, we are increasing our fast appropriations by $528,000. Again, for tuition and fees, we hope to have better information at our board meeting in June. And then for our property taxes, with that 2% valuation increase and the $500 million in new construction, we are estimating about $5 million in additional property tax revenue if we went up the full 7.999% over the no new revenue rate. So with this, that would bring our preliminary budget to $130.7 million next year. Are there any questions? Okay, for our preliminary expenses, we are still early in the process and still analyzing all of our data and our budget request. We have identified some potential increases that support the mission of the college, and they are categorized by the goals of our strategic plan. So for connecting beyond the college, we are potentially looking at increased targeted marketing by using our new CRM and Element 451 that you heard a lot of great, fantastic things about earlier. And we'll be using that to recruit students through various avenues. For increasing completion for all students, This year, we did budget some funds for instructional equipment, and those funds are being used. We're doing some great things this year. Currently, we're in the process of purchasing 32 dental chairs to replace all of our dental chairs in our dental program, and we're also in the process of adding 50 additional welding booths to our welding program. But even though we've done some great things this year, we still have a need to continue upgrading and replacing older equipment, such as our simulators for cranes and heavy equipment, our healthcare-related programs, and other industry-related programs to continue enhancing our instructional environments to facilitate student success. There are also a lot of great ideas and areas of consideration being discussed to create programs in response to individual and community needs, such as reviewing how the college could help with workforce development for the construction and/or operations of our desalination plant, or how do we expand our cybersecurity support from the city to create a cybersecurity center. So there's just some of the things that we're talking during our discussions that support the college's goal in increasing completion for all students. For optimizing the Viking student experience with the interest of freedom to dream, we're expecting an influx of students. And with that, we need to that will create potential increased need for student support services. And some of these potential services include piloting a success coaching model to increase student outcomes, enhancing our wraparound student support services, not only to support our existing students, but any additional students that come to the college. For maximizing resources entrusted to the college, every year those contracts go up for custodial services or security services, so we see those increases to maintain all of our campuses. And then we also want to continue addressing the deferred maintenance needs that we have across all of our campuses. For salary and benefit increases, it's really too early in the process to make any kind of recommendations. We will likely see some potential increases, especially with the increased enrollment from Freedom to Dream, but we're still evaluating those needs, and we'll bring back additional information hopefully in June. So as we continue to work through the budget process, we will continue to identify any other maintenance and operation needs and provide updates at our next board meeting. Are there any questions? Okay. So for our preliminary expense budget for fiscal year 2026, because we are so early in the process still, we have to be decided on everything, and we will have additional information in June. And that concludes our presentation. Are there any questions?
So I guess as we get ready for the June workshop will be a lot of heavy lifting. We won't have the final numbers, obviously, from the appraisal district, but we might have a really good indication from the state level of what's happening. So when we think about it, Dr. Turner, you'll be freer in the summertime, so we may do a workshop session or just do an extended workshop during the regular time, but we'll have a good discussion about some of those expense discussions based on revenue available. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I think June's still going to be pretty preliminary, but in July, once we get the values from the appraisal district, those certified values, we'll have some good numbers in July.
Yep.
And a better idea.
But the discussion around salaries, the discussion around what the
assumptions.
Freedom to Dream waiver is costing us. I mean, I think we need to begin playing with some of those assumptions in June and not wait for all of that until July.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
No problem. And we'll talk to the chief appraiser and see if we can get at least scenarios. And we can always have a variable, one, from low to high and something in the middle. And I think that they will be accurate enough at that point in June to give us that range.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Thank you, Mr. Christie, as well.
Thank you.
All right, we're looking at our pending item list. We did have as we talked about, a heavy presentation session this month, and maybe next month won't be quite so heavy. We do have, just calling to your attention, we will have one more report on our old strategic plan. Dr. Villarreal will bring some final numbers because, you know, there's a lot of lagging numbers, and so things that have finally been audited and certified and those kinds of things. So we'll finally wrap up with a pretty bow our last strategic plan in June, and then we'll have our review of professional services contract. All right, we will move on to our consent agenda items. We have 3 items, including approval of minutes, acceptance of investment reports, and financial reports. Do any items need to be pulled for separate consideration? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Loeb. Thank you, Mr. Cruel, for seconding that motion. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. All right, we will move on to our internal audit report. We will hear 3 items in open session, and we won't hear the last item until we go into closed session, and we'll actually defer action on this until we come out of closed session. But let's go ahead and do the 3 items that we can talk about in open session. Ms. McDonald.
Thank you, Chair. Today we have Dan Graves here with Waiver, our internal auditor representative, and he's going to present to you 3 different reports and also provide you a status on the FY25 audit plan. And then, as you mentioned, we will have one report on one of the audit reports that will be in closed session. I do want to make note that the board audit committee did meet on April the 30th, and Mr. Graves was present, and he did present this report to the audit committee. Okay. Dan, thank you.
Good afternoon. Let's see here. All right, so as Tammy said, today we'll cover several of our reports and status, starting with our just a quick overview of the Senate Bill 17 compliance report, status on our other 2 audits that we have this year, and then 2 follow-up reports, one over the bursar's office and one over accounts payable and disbursements. So starting, we have completed our report over SB 17 compliance. That report we will go over detail in closed session because of some of the legal ramifications, but just a quick overview of SB 17. When SB 17 was passed, it includes some key terms of prohibition of DEI requirements on hiring and admissions, restricted use of DEI statements by the college, limitations set on having a DEI office and DEI programs, and then an annual reporting requirement. So we have completed those. We looked at everything as of December 3rd, and we'll present all that detail to you in closed session. The internal audit over financial aid, the last time we looked at financial aid was about 2015, so it was due again. I know elements of this get looked at every year in the annual financial audit, but we look at it in far more depth than your financial auditors do. And so we are in the process of doing that. We're all but wrapped up. We're tracking down over the last week a few items on some of our testing, and so we should be able to report to you that relatively soon at one of the next meetings. Those objectives really looked at the controls in place. We've already identified those from prior years, so just confirming they're still operating in place. And this was a very testing heavy audit. Since we've done this before, we really focused on doing a lot of testing, and so you'll see that as well as some of the key IT systems. Internal audit over maintenance, we are actually in the planning phase of that. Some of the topics that might be included as we continue to plan and scope, both with our internal audit team and with management. Obviously maintenance, so we'll be looking at facilities maintenance, construction repairs, tool supplies, possibly custodial and grounds maintenance, and then deferred maintenance as well. And so we're in the process of scoping that. Really should be starting some of that field work at the end of this month, and will be complete definitely by August 31st. Hopefully by July we'll be finished with that. So that's all of our planned internal audits. We have a couple follow-ups that we have completed already. So we have the bursar's office follow-up that we have completed. There were 6 total findings in that audit. We have gone back and done our follow-up procedures to validate that the remediated actions by the college are in place. And so 4 of those are remediated. One of those we closed because the situation no longer is present at the college, so the finding doesn't really is moot for the college itself. And then one of those is partially remediated, and that finding really centers around implementing a second review for tuition waivers granted to students. And so those tuition waivers are primarily waivers for students who might have been wards of the state and gone through the foster care program or adoptive program, also visually impaired. So there's a few of those types of waivers that the bursar's office can implement that are separate from financial aid, like veterans benefits, things like that. But those waivers, there's a process to review those, but there's a little bit more formalization in some of the procedures that will take place, and that should be in place relatively quickly. Accounts payable, we also, in the 2024 internal audit over accounts payable, we had 5 total findings. Of those 5, 2 are completely remediated now, 2 are partially remediated and should be fully remediated soon, and 1 is a still status of open as the college is deciding on some provisions on updating travel reimbursements as well as some of the review of those policies. So I do anticipate that those will be remediated when we have this presentation next year. We do have one other follow-up over information security. There's really one item that's hanging out on that one that we think will be remediated. We will perform those follow-up procedures this spring. Really, now the spring semester is almost over. It'll be this summer, so that should happen in the June timeframe. So with that, one of the planned internal audits is done. One's in progress. One is about to start. 2 of the 3 follow-ups are done. We will also have a risk assessment refresh and an updated internal audit plan that we'll bring to you likely in the August meeting to be approved for fiscal year 2026, as well as our annual internal audit report. Any questions? I know there'll be some on the other report in closed session, but for now. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Again, we're going to defer action until we come out of closed session. So action item number 5 is discussion and action related to an annexation adoption. Mr. Strybos.
Madam Chair, Regents, President, I'm bringing you the last official item of the day until the closed session comes out. So in accordance with Texas Education Code, Section 130.066, automatic annexation of certain territory, as the city of Corpus Christi annexes property, then Del Mar College may also annex the property. So on April 15, 2025, the city of Corpus Christi approved an ordinance annexing and rezoning a 12.778 acre tract of land comprised of 2.194 acre tract of land per the petition located southwest corner of FM 43 and State Highway 286 and the abutting 10.58 acre section of FM 43. Approving the related service plan, adding the annexed area to the City Council District Number 3, rezoning the 2.194 acres from Farm Rural District to CG General Commercial District, and a convenience store with a gas station is proposed for the 2.194 acre tract, recommending annexation of the property.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Stravos? Do you have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Kelly, second by Mr. Crewell. Sorry. Is there any? Yes,
Chair, I'm going to recuse myself from vote on this particular item because I do have conflict.
Okay, so we'll have one abstention then. Do we have any public comment on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Same sign. That motion passes with one abstention. Thank you, Mr. Strybos.
Thank you.
All right, we will now go into closed session under Texas Government Code 551.071, consultation with legal counsel, including issues related to CPS Energy Proposal, Corpus Christi Housing Authority, and Cameron County Housing Finance Corporation, and under Texas Government Code 551.074A1 regarding personnel matters, including evaluation of the college president and board self-evaluation. The time is 4:07 p.m. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come back from closed session. We do need to take action on item number 4 related to the college's internal audit. Mr. Cruel, do you have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the internal audit findings 1 through 4 as presented by the auditor.
Thank you. Second by Mr. Kelly. And I apologize, we came back in from closed session at 5:18 p.m. So we do have that motion from Mr. Cruel to accept the findings of the internal audit, second by Mr. Kelly. Any comment or question from the board? Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. Coming out of closed session, we do have 2 other action items. I'm going to ask for, who has them?
I'll make a motion.
Dr. Babley is going to make a motion, and I know that we will have one abstention from that motion, Mr. Garza. And so, Dr. Babley, would you read your motion?
I move that we authorize the college president and general counsel to proceed with taking necessary and appropriate action, including the engagement of outside counsel, to protect and pursue the college's legal status and potential claims in connection with the CPS energy proposal as outlined in closed session.
Thank you very much. Dr. Babley, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Dr. Adami. Any questions from the board? Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion passes with 1 abstention. And the second motion is from Mr. Loeb.
I move that we authorize the college president and general counsel to proceed with taking necessary and appropriate action, including the engagement of outside counsel to protect and pursue the college's legal status and potential claims in connection with the Corpus Christi Housing Authority and Cameron County Housing Finance Corporation's tax-exempt issue as outlined in closed session.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kelly. Any questions or comments from the board? Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. That's all the action items that we have. Want to look at our calendar for the upcoming couple of months. We have spring graduation this Friday night. We hope that you all can join us, and if you have not yet RSVP'd to Ms. Delia, please let her know who will be attending. And our graduation speaker is?
Dr. Wayne Morris, former football player, Del Mar College Vikings, and graduate, retired dentist, local hometown hero, and / spirit animal of Del Mar College.
Very excited about that. Also in May, it's not on your agenda, but wanted to call your attention that we will have our Freedom to Dream ceremonial signing on Wednesday, May 21st at 1:30 p.m. in the White Library on the 2nd floor. And then in June, on June 2nd, there will be a Lunch and Learn legislative series that is being hosted by the Corpus Christi United Chamber of Commerce. It will, however, be held at the Trace Grace Community Room in the Culinary Arts Building at our Oso Creek campus. If you're interested in attending, please let Delia know. We have our board meeting on Tuesday, June the 10th. And we will miss Dr. Turner. She'll be on a well-deserved vacation. And then we will not have a board meeting, a regular board meeting in July. We will not meet again in July until the 29th for our called board meeting.
And special items will be added.
And special items as needed. With that, we are adjourned at 5:23 p.m.